What is going on, my fellow Omi homies? It's Foster, and I'm back at it again with another VeVe and Ecomi live stream. A little bit of a hiccup here at the beginning, still waiting on the Todd Father himself to join. We had arranged the time, but obviously with time zones and things of that nature, it can get a little hiccupy and sometimes, and I know the drop recently just ended, so we'll give him a few minutes to join while we get things started. I didn't want to leave anyone that was waiting in the chat here wondering what was going on. So in the meantime, we'll talk anyone that is in the chat right now about any questions or anything you guys want to talk about. And then when we have Stephen join us, which should hopefully be any moment now, we will get into the questions that we will be asking him. For those of you that don't know and that are just joining, I did an interview with Stephen about a month ago on my YouTube channel. And at the time, I believe he had about 40 million Omi, and I think he was coming on 2,500 collectibles. So obviously a pretty influential personality in the space. And he recently made a post on Twitter in the last 24 to 48 hours talking about how he would be selling all of his Omi and going all in on the collectibles, specifically the comic books. So I hit him up almost immediately and said, dude, we need to talk about what you're doing, because that is absolutely crazy. And I want to know what's going through your head. So we'll wait here for when he shows up and we'll hear what's going on with him. But in the meantime, I'll field any questions in the chat and we'll have the conversation that way. And then when he joins, we will go from there. So first and foremost, Maxwell, this will be good. Yes, it will be good. Whenever he joins, it'll be definitely a pretty interesting and engaging conversation, I think. And I think we will cover a lot. So we'll wait and see when he joins and we will go from there. Hardlife8887 says, dude, seriously, I am missing drops since 6 weeks now. I haven't tried with cheat bots on a second account and whatnot, always zero. Nobody can tell me there is not a geographical problem here. PS cheat bots and auto click out of desperation still failed. Hardlife, where are you located? Given the fact that, and also I wouldn't recommend to anyone that they openly acknowledge to going against the TOS that VeVe has, but I mean, that's fine. I understand that you're getting desperate there. So, I mean, you're looking for ways to get around it, but you know, I think if anything, that's a perfect example when people say, hey, there's an issue with bots, and then you show that you used a bot and were not successful, then obviously bots aren't the end all to be all, because if you couldn't get it using a bot, but people are complaining that they're not getting it because of bots, well, is your bot just not as good as some humans, or what's going on with that, right? So, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I have personally never used a bot, but I am also blessed with pretty fantastic internet connections. So, yeah, we're good. His Twitter notifications were off. He just messaged me, just letting him know he has the link there, so he should be joining momentarily. So sorry about that, guys. So yeah, hard life. I hear you. Let me know where you're living at, and maybe we can talk about what that might be in relation to, and whether you believe ping and latency and other issues are playing in as a factor to this. I know for me, my ping when I'm wired on my computer, so what I'm streaming on right now is 1 millisecond. So I mean, you can't really get much better than that. And then when I'm using my phone, it's generally 4 milliseconds. So you know, I have an iPhone 11, decently good internet connection. So
Yeah, dude.
The man, the myth, the legend himself, the Todd Father. How's it going, brother?
Oh, good, man. I was trying to get my setup sorted. I didn't realize we went over time. Sorry.
Oh, all good, man. If you need a moment, do your thing there. We're just talking with people in the chat. Hard Life made a comment about being a little desperate after not getting several drops. So I guess he tried using an auto clicker bot on a secondary account and still wasn't able to get a collectible even with an auto clicker. So we were just talking about the amount of user base and things that may be playing a role in that, and why people may be struggling. It's just it's pure carnage out there.
Yeah,
so
it's super tough now. I haven't gotten anything for a long time.
Oh, really? Yeah. So I guess you've been getting a lot of the stuff that you've been getting on the secondary market then.
Yeah, I'm poor as hell now. Like all my money's tied up.
Well, yeah, and we're definitely going to get into that over the course of this interview because your money was tied up in the OMI token and it no longer is. So I'm definitely going to be curious over the next little while to pick your brain on that. And of course, if anyone in the comment section has any questions for Stephen or myself, either in relation to his investments or anything that's going on in the OMI and VeVe community, we can always have a conversation here about it. So for sure, Mr. Anomalous says it's based around luck. Missed the last four before that, scored for a while. Cheating will just get you deservingly banned. Yeah, and I agree with that. If you are cheating and or using something that gives you an unfair advantage, then I think sooner or later you will get banned. And I don't know what will happen to the collectibles or anything like that, but yeah, definitely I wouldn't recommend doing that because at the end of the day, yeah, it sucks to not be able to get a collectible, but if you do get your collection banned or your account banned, then you're in bigger trouble, right? So, and Craig, yeah, this is the last interview was good, and this one's going to be even better. So, Stephen, for those of the people that are in the chat right now or who may be watching this later on YouTube, give us a quick rundown of what you talked. No worries, what you talked about in our last interview, just in relation to kind of when you first caught it in the project, how much OMI you ended up acquiring, and how many collectibles you had maybe as of 3 weeks ago or a month ago when we did our last interview.
Yes, I was trying to keep a 50-50 split, half and half. But basically, during this dip, I thought it was more important to go all in on collectibles, just because it's less manipulation. With these few exchanges, it's really hard for the token to excel. This time will definitely come. I think short-term collectibles are the play for me.
For sure. So do you feel comfortable talking about how much OMI you had previously before you sold, or?
Yeah, I went up to about 42 million.
Okay.
So I started slowly selling over the last 2 weeks, and now I've got zero. It's just, I'm trying to get all the comics as well, so it all needs a lot of money.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so you sold all of your 42 million OMI. And I guess 42 million OMI, I guess you would have sold it in and around 0.006 roughly, or?
Yeah, 0.06 up to the new peak.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that would be like 250,000 US dollars, I guess, roughly, give or take.
Yeah, it's about 220.
220. Okay, so you sold $220,000 worth of OMI, 42 million OMI tokens, and you've essentially transferred all of that liquidity into buying collectibles on the app.
Yeah. I mistimed it a bit though, because I FOMO'd in a little bit too much before the market pulled back, so it's half and half. It's really hard to time it perfectly, but it is what it is.
For sure. No, I like you said, I think it's impossible to time the market, and I think time
in the market
over time. Yeah, exactly. So it's really interesting that, because I remember when you put that post out on Twitter the other day, I messaged you almost immediately, and I was like, dude, what like, are you trolling? Like, what's going on here?
Honestly, it's all gone.
Wow. So you obviously have a strong conviction in the collectibles, but you're referencing that you're mostly focusing on comic books. Is that correct?
I wanted one of each. The comics are good, but the collectibles are my play because they have more utility. Just they're the main core of the app. The token, in my mind, is a avenue to get more collectibles. So there's no point waiting for them to go out of reach before making a transition. So in my mind, now is the time. It's pulled back so much, and it's getting ready to do it again, to go forward.
For sure. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you had like over 2,000 collectibles, I think, before you sold your OMI as well, correct? Like you had a fairly substantial collection.
I think I had about 1,800 or something, and I'm up to 2,250.
Okay,
I'm trying to get more quality ones, because before I was just buying loads of crappy random ones, like Finns and Jakes, and the ones that aren't going to hold the value too well. But I'm putting more on blue chip ones now. Todd, Superman, Prides, and Golden Dragon Girl's one of my favorite now too, because it's super undervalued.
Oh, for sure. But I think even they have shot up quite a bit. I think they're at something like 5, I think 5 for the floor, or they were a day or two ago.
The Golden Dragon Girl's cheap now.
Is it? It went down?
Yeah, it's 3.7. It's really good for what it is.
Wow. Well, that's good. I mean, see, I guess it's so hard for me to wrap my head around, because I was very much focused on the utility of the token and everything that was coming. And I see kind of the the direction that we're moving in with the token, with us migrating and everything happening. But then conversely, I also very much see what could happen to a lot of these collectibles once we move over to Ethereum on Immutable, and the eyeballs that will bring in that are already currently in crypto that may very much invest and find interest. What is your strategy on what you're planning to do with a lot of these collectibles that you have? Like, are you going to flip a lot of them and then buy back into the Omi token? Or are you very much just going to try and create a business of sorts in making money off of the collectibles?
I don't think the Omi token's a play yet because the utility's not there. Maybe in 6 months when the VeVe comes out and they start bringing in more options for it, you can buy Omi specific items. That's the main reason why I'm not holding right now. It's because you can buy land with fiat too. So there's no incentive to hold the token because the token's just a means to getting collectibles, in my opinion.
That's a very good point. And on that point, I mean, we know Omi to NFT is coming at some point in the next, hopefully, month or so. We would, yeah, hashtag soon, hashtag soon. So, did you give any thought to keeping some of your Omi tokens and then using them to then buy collectibles when it became available as an option?
I'm desperate for more liquidity now, to be honest.
Okay.
If I had more Omi, I'd sell it right now. I'm super desperate for more
okay. That's fair. Well, I mean, I think desperate to everyone is a relative term. I mean, you had $220,000 to invest in collectibles. Is it fair to say that you've eaten up through most of that liquidity over the last little while buying collectibles?
I don't have enough money for buying a comic tomorrow.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I'm trying to sell some stuff now just because I want to snipe a Daredevil so badly.
Okay.
People are sleeping on it so much. It's going to be a top 5 comic.
For sure. Well, maybe after the stream, I'll see if you want to put in a special offer for my Amazing Spider-Man comic. We'll see how that one goes. Have you been able to load up on either the Marvel's #1, the Avengers Kang, or the Amazing Spider-Man, the top 3 kind of highest priced?
So I got the Spider-Man, but I haven't got the Kang or the #1 yet.
They're bloody expensive.
All my money's tied up in other stuff, and it's pulled back too much now to make the transition right now. It's a bit awkward trying to time everything.
For sure. Now, I think Omi Data put out a tweet the other day and has been for a couple days now about, I guess, a Marvel's comic #1 that they've been looking to sell. And I think they started the floor at like 40,000 and it's worked its way down into the low 30s. For some of these collectibles that you see listed on the marketplace, the Donnies, the Marvel #1s, do you think that they're being, I don't want to call it manipulated, but do you see people buying at those price levels?
When I buy it, I buy on a theory based on X, like how far away from the floor is it? Because the higher away from the floor it is, the fear it can crash. So I try not to get involved in those ones too much. I still don't have Mooglies or the Donnies because they're more showpieces rather than viable investments at this point.
For sure. So is your goal at some point to complete like the entire collection? Like have at least one of every collectible? No?
I've not got that capital. You need millions to do it. And it's more a vanity thing than a sound investment, to be honest.
Fair enough. I have a ton of questions for you, but I definitely want to roll in some interactivity with the community here because I know the last time I think we recorded privately and then just posted it afterwards. So it'll be nice to kind of get a sense of any questions or comments the community may have for you. And so Mr. Nalma says, regarding the Todd Father with the NFTs lately, they seem to hit the roof of the price after drop, then steadily go down. P.S. I would have sold Todd Father my Secret Rare Fantastic Four #1 for Omi.
I actually sold that one. So I'll trade collectibles for it.
Oh, really? Yeah, because I think you posted that. Yeah, earlier today, didn't you? You said I'll give someone a fair offer with collectibles that I already own.
Yeah, so I got a bunch of duplicates which I can do fair trades with. So just
nice. So what is your most prized collectible that you currently have right now? Whether it be 1 edition or 100 editions, like what is it?
With investments, you can't be attached. But I'd probably say my Harley Pubes is the most expensive one.
Okay.
The Harley Quinn 19.
Yeah. And I think that was like 9 or 10 the last time I looked at it. Has it gone down a little bit or up or?
Yeah, well, I paid a little bit more for like a low mint-ish, 100 120-ish edition number.
Oh wow, okay. And I guess that's something that you've referenced there is you're not specifically focusing on just buying the floor, like mint number means something
Yeah,
to you as
mint
well.
numbers is so much important because it's much better long term to pay a little bit more now. Because if you need to flip something in a hurry, it's much easier rather than trying to flip a floor mint. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Pay a little
And I guess that's what I struggle with as well. My wife pulled a 007 ultra rare. I think it was series 2, like not obviously this series, but the series before. And it was like in the 80s for an ultra rare. But what I struggle with is not coming from a collection background and knowing nothing about this is like is the market really there? Like are people buying these specific collectibles and then what do you list it for? Like that's
yeah.
my struggle, right? So
Yeah, that's not really what I go for either. I try to get something around like 500 to 1,000.
okay.
Or if it's a
And is
secret.
that because you think that the lower minted ones are is it because they're out of your price range or is it because they're
Yeah,
overpriced relative to what you think they're worth?
they're overpriced. You can get 2 low editions for 1 super low, and that to me makes so much more sense long term.
For sure. What up, Chris? Thanks for coming by, man. James, does the Todd Father have any views on the Omi token? Will it have value in the future? Any
Yeah,
price predictions? So
it,
give,
it,
give
it
it give
will
it your best here.
it will have tremendous value in the future. Basically, honestly, it's such a sound investment. It's so good. But just short term, I think collectibles, we're in such a huge NFT hype cycle, and all these OpenSea people are so well off. All that liquidity is going to be draining into our market. It's going to be nuts.
And I have to say I got a mad amount of respect for you. I do kind of think you're crazy, and I posted about that, and I'll say it publicly. But I respect the fact that you're sticking to your convictions and that you feel like you understand that part of the market. For me, I've done so much research on the Omi token, and I understand where it's going in 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, 60 months. Like I understand it. I
Yeah,
for me, I have no idea what the collectibles are doing. When the Omi price goes down, I don't panic. When the collectible price goes down, I panic. I don't understand it. I think I've told you, and I've made it public to many of my viewers. I've said I sold the secret rare Spider-Man Ultimate Animated that I had for $1,600. It's now worth 10 grand. I panic sold it because I saw it going down, and I struggle with the vision for collectibles. So what is it for you? And I know you've referenced it somewhat, but what is your biggest factor that you believe will lead to the biggest sales of those collectibles? Is it the mutable transition? Is it Omi to NFT? Is it another factor? Like what is it?
I think it's both. The Immutable legitimizes us as an NFT project because the purists have been waiting for that moment the entire year. They know about Omi, they're just not ready yet. And once they start seeing the figures and OpenSea rolling, everyone's going to FOMO in so hard. And the Immutable is going to make it much easier for people outside the US to get involved. Because right now, your only way to get involved is buy gems from Facebook groups. Otherwise, it's screwed on the conversions and the fees, and it's just the value is gone. Because right now you're 40% more than other people from the EU. You get a discount,
True.
and you're getting better conversions. So it's so much better to buy gems now.
You know what? That is a very good point. And like you said, I think the FOMO into this project is going to be pretty biblical, not just for the collectibles, but for the token as well. I think once it starts, it's just going to kind of pick up a life of its own. And like you said, I think I put out a tweet earlier today, and 5 months ago there was one guy that sold 10 board APY collectibles, and he sold them all under half an ETH for each collectible. And now look how much those are worth as a floor. So this, like right now, and I've talked about this, and I'm sure you can, attest to this, is right now we're in the moment. So everything feels like it's a lifetime. I always equate it when I'm talking to my wife. Like, remember when you were in high school and 4 years felt like your entire life? Is because it's all that you know. And right now, so we're looking at these prices and we're going, oh, why isn't this changed? And then we realize, guys, it's only been a week since this came out, or since this happened. And it'll just take one or two catalysts for it to really take off.
Well, the whole year has been building up to this point. We're at the pinnacle moment now. As soon as things start dropping, Immutable Migration finished, the Master Collector program, utility article rolls out. Once all those things are outlined and finished, then the train's just going to be unstoppable. It's going to be insane. I can't wait.
For sure. So to raise question about token utility and land, do you think that you will look to liquidate some of the collectibles that you have and convert that back into the token, maybe in 3 months or 6 months when the VeVe comes out?
Yeah, or just fiat and buy the land with fiat, because unless you get a discount of Omi, well, there's no point, really.
Do you have anything to say to this? And sorry, I should probably read this out for people that are listening audio and not looking. So Hard Life says, what I think is questionable about this move is, don't you think that VeVe and Ecomi will be so much more than only collectibles, and Omi just covers everything, whereas the collectibles are mostly just that? What are your thoughts on that?
You gotta look at right now, because right now it's all about collectibles. The utility is coming in 6 months when the VeVe comes. And when it first comes, they said it's going to be a social platform and it's not going to have too much utility to begin with. The utility is going to need time, and by then you've lost your market, because the bull market doesn't last forever.
For sure. So to be clear, it's not that you don't think that the Omi token is a valuable proposition. You just think that the collectibles are a more valuable proposition right now.
They're a hot topic right now. NFTs everywhere. That's all people are talking about. The Omi token's amazing. I absolutely love it. But long-term, short-term collectibles for me.
For sure.
I'm not a mastermind. I don't have a crystal ball. That's my thought process.
For sure. Are you able to move your mic a little closer to your mouth or turn it up on your end? I have one or two people saying.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better for sure. Putting this one out here just so that you don't have to comment on it, but Sean's asking if you'd be interested in a number 52 Pride, 1952 minted in total. I'm assuming he owns it, so
Yeah, I got 7 Prides already. I haven't got the money to buy a 52 mint. Sorry.
7 Prides already. Well, good for you, man. That's worth more than a mid-series vehicle right now, and I'm sure it'll be worth.
I bought 6 of them for $250 each after drop. I should have bought more, but I didn't have money at the time.
Wow. You know what? I felt the same when the common Labracorns came out over the weekend for the Labbits drop for Frank Kozik. I saw them and it didn't click with me that they were animated. So I was just like, whatever, like I'm gonna focus on all these other ones. And I landed a rare, my wife got the ultra rare, and we were super stoked. We're like, yo, this is sweet. And then out of nowhere, the common gets listed at $200, and I'm like, why? And then I see that it's animated, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, usually people undercut each other, so I was like, oh, I'll wait, it's fine. And then out of nowhere, it shot up to like $600, and I was like, this was a mistake.
People were sniping that so badly. I was trying to get it at 250 all the way up. I was like, why are you doing this to me? I'm too slow and old.
For sure. I think you already referenced this a little bit, but for any of the blue chip collectibles, are you paying a premium for low mints? I know you said that you like kind of between 500 to 1,000, but as an example, let's use like the ultra rare Labbit that just came out. It only has 999 editions, so you can't get 500 with them. So
a 300 is usually my range for those.
Okay. Fair enough. I agree with Chris here. He's making a potentially good move. It's just ballsy. And that's it, man. Like I respect, and that's the thing. Like I want it to be clear to everyone that's watching right now. Like I fully respect you doing this. I just don't have the cojones to do it. And like you're like, you are the definition of full send. Like you see it, you have the vision for it, and you're going right for it. For me, like if I did it, even if I was confident in it, my wife would lose it. She's like, you just spent 6 months talking about the Omi token and how it's going to go to the moon, and now you're going to buy the collectibles. What's wrong with you? Like I would just be, it would be bad news bears for me, I think.
Yeah, I am lucky though, because I'm a little bit privileged. I'm not going to lose my residence if it doesn't work out. So
for sure.
I have some security. So it is a bit different situation than most people. But I still honestly believe in the collectibles short term, way more than a token.
Yeah.
You can get a huge announcement. They could drop Coinbase listing or Binance or something, and then it goes crazy. So they both have good use cases, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. So let's take us back to a month ago. We were hovering around 0.003. Not a lot of conviction in the community with the token going up quickly. I mean, people obviously felt like we were kind of, sitting fine, like nothing was going crazy. We weren't going lower. We had moved out of our twos and we were kind of sitting where we were. Since then, we're now up we'll call it 100% on where we were a month ago. People may not be up 100%. For me, I broke my DCA at 0.0052. So I am in the positives for the first time in 6 months, which is a very good feeling. And I hope others in the chat right now feel the same. But, I look at it as, well, I went up 100% on my investment in a month. The collectibles that I own that I buy on the drop definitely go up more than 100%. But to buy them in the secondary market, like let's say I wanted to buy a Harley Quinn, a Stephen Pugh Harley Quinn for $9,000. Well, now I need that to go to $18,000 for me to do the same thing that the Omi token did. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I completely agree. That's why I haven't bought 8 or 10 of them. I have one just for the set.
Okay.
That's why I have one Risto too, because his price doesn't move much at all. It did a double and then it pulled back. That's why I'm looking at the blue chips, the Todd and Superman, who were 300 and 400, who are now 1,000, and Todd's 1.6. They've done 4 or 5 times.
How many Todds and how many Supermans do you have, if you don't mind me asking? Or roughly, you can ballpark it.
No, I did have 20 Todds a few weeks ago, and I had 45 Supermen, and I've been trading a few for comics, like super low mint comics, because I paid so little for those. I want to diversify a bit, and I haven't got the money to buy them, so people will want to trade, and those are the only ones they want. So in my mind, I paid 700 gems for some low mint super rares.
Wow. And when you think about that, just based on the numbers of the collectibles you have there, based on their floor, not even the mint numbers that you have, that's about $75,000 in collectibles right there. So, yeah. That's pretty crazy when you think about that, just holding that alone. And I think those pieces, especially the Todd McFarlane Batman, with coming up to its birthday here, and I think in just about a week now, the first year of VeVe being released, I think as that coincides kind of with the move to Immutable, I think we're going to see, especially that Todd McFarlane Batman, once again, not financial advice, but I think we're going to see a pretty big uptick on that. I only own one, but I bought it at 325 and I've been holding it. And of course, probably could have sold it when it was up at 1.8, 1.9 a week ago. But I honestly see that going to at least $10,000 in the next 6 months. So I'm kind of chilling. Do you ever sit there and with a little Excel spreadsheet and go, when this collectible gets to this price, I'm going to sell it for this? Or are you just get a feel for the marketplace and then just kind of go with it?
No, I don't do that. But when I'm buying, I do look at Cherry charts. Like Brendan Cherry has an amazing spreadsheet of all the price history and how much we're in the market for every single day. It's an amazing tool for $10 a month. So if you Google Cherry charts, it'll help you so much with your buying strategy.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy as well.
Wow.
Help.
Cool, man. Awesome. Well, there you go. A little hat tip in the chat there for everyone. This is awesome. This is why you guys tune in, right? So, so regarding OpenSea and ETH whales buying the collectibles, are you strictly aiming for artists that could be first to enter the market versus maybe Marvel that might wait around before doing this? I know you referenced you have a bunch of Todd McFarlane Batmans and you have Superman. Those probably aren't going to be the first to go. So do you have a lot of the the Jermaine Rogers, Frank Kozik, Ron English?
I do. I have loads. I absolutely love them as well because they're low mints, especially Jermaine Rogers is Comic-Con exclusive. The routes are super cool, and it's just everything going for it. And they were cheap at the time too. I was buying 350 edition numbers for 250 gems like a month ago because that's the time you want to buy. It's a little bit late now, but during this pullback is a good opportunity still.
I completely agree with you. And I run into the biggest issue, like an announcement will come out or something will come out and I'm like, oh, this is going to go somewhere. And then I buy it and then I literally have no gems left. And I'm in the position that, and I don't know if you feel the same, but I really feel that once the Master Collector Program documentation and the Omi utility article come out, I think that there will be certain collectibles that really pump, whether it be the the Supermans that complete the sets on their own, or certain collectibles if it confirms that they'll be able to move over to OpenSea. So I'm pretty excited about all of that. It's just I don't have the gems like you. I can't buy everything. I wish I could because I see all these great deals, and it kills me that I can't.
One thing I'm really bad at is keeping liquidity ready to go. If I get something, I'm buying something straight away. I'm not holding on to any USDT. Like the smart ones are ready for opportunities. So if I saw something in the market now, I couldn't buy it because I just don't have the money available. So that's my biggest problem is I'm not patient and just throw money in and hoping for the best.
For sure, for sure. I think that I'm going to eventually add Omi when Omi the NFT comes. I'm definitely going to convert some of my Omi because I'm sitting on 14 million right now. So I think I will, once Omi hits, a couple cents, then it's really not a stretch to take, 1 million Omi that might be, $50,000 at that point or $40,000, and then convert that into buying NFTs directly. And then I'm in one respect, I'm helping my investment because I'm burning Omi. And then in the other respect, I'm still holding the rest of my Omi, which is going to continue to go up in value. Do you ever worry that you sold your Omi and then they're going to announce this Omi utility program as a form of staking, which could have given you a ton of rewards, which could have conceivably given you more access to collectibles? And then you're like, oh, I wish I just hold on to 1 million Omi or 2 million Omi. Like, does that ever worry you, or will you just kind of FOMO back into the Omi if something like that comes out and you'll...
So one thing I've learned this whole year of trading is there's always another opportunity. There's always another dip. It's never too late.
I completely agree with that.
It always comes back around eventually.
Yeah.
Just got to be patient and time it properly.
Yeah.
Never, ever FOMO.
Yeah. No, I hear you on that. I had a buddy at work who, back when he was at 0.003, I was telling him for like weeks, like, dude, you need to buy it now before it explodes. And then we were up at 6.8 the other day. And I was like, dude, like, we're up at 6.8 now. Like, you'd be up over 100% on your money. Like, come on, what's going on here? And he's like, well, I'm going to wait for a dip. And I asked him that. I said, well, what's your definition of a dip? Because we were down at 0.003. So is a definition of a dip for you us going back down to 0.6? Or is your definition of us going back, a dip going back down to 0.3? Because I said, we're not, in my opinion, we're never going to see 0.003 again. Like, there would have to be some pretty...
No, it would be 0.52 or 0.052. That would be a dip for me.
And I just struggle with that, because then I look at it and I'm like, well, I could have got it at 0.003. So, that's why I'm so afraid to sell my Omi, because I'm like, oh yeah, I could buy it back in here, but I already owned it at this price, which was half what I'm buying it back at now. And I just get in my head about it. So
it depends what you sell it for, though, because I sold some Omi to buy 50 Lazy Lions. I sold 46 Lions for like $80,000. And I put it onto Todd's and at like 400 gems. So all of that is just spiraled. If you time it, you don't have to time it perfectly, but I timed it pretty good.
That's crazy. Well, I don't know if you tried or not, but I entered the raffle for the Mechaverse for those NFTs.
I didn't bother. I saw everyone saying it's going to be the biggest rug in history.
And that's the thing. I don't know. Like, I haven't heard back yet. And this is the problem, right? Like, if you're not involved in a community and you haven't done like an abundance of research on it, it's so difficult to know the ins and outs. Like, I feel like if anyone came to me and was like, hey, just so you know, Omi is a rug, I could spend like half an hour explaining to them very articulately how it's clearly not a rug. But then again, like you said, like, oh, well, you heard it was a rug. So it's, and I just don't know, because I'm just so damn busy on Omi. So we'll see what happens with that. I mean, I think it's like a 1 in 50 shot that I even get an opportunity to mint one. So I'm not going to stress out too much about it, and we'll see what happens. Split Sniper 7 says, what's one license that hasn't necessarily been confirmed that you'll be all in on when it comes out?
Nothing really. I'm all in already. So it'd just be a distribution of assets. Obviously, Pokemon would be the number one. If Pokemon dropped, the whole market would be destroyed. Everybody would sell everything. There'd be nothing left. So,
and do you ever worry about that they're going to release, or they're going to oversaturate the market, and then it'll get to the point where it's like maybe I don't, like, maybe it's just not worth as much. Like, I've seen a ton of people put out like, hey, they need to stop releasing 2 comics a week. Like, people feel like, some people anyways feel like it's getting oversaturated. I don't know that I necessarily feel as though it's getting oversaturated, assuming that we continue to upkeep our user base. But at the same time, like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think the comics are great, actually, because you get the people who could never ever afford a Todd or Superman. They get a comic and they can flip it and sell it, and then all that market's coming into the collectible market, so it's actually helping us. But the oversaturation of collectibles, on the other hand, is another thing. There is too many drops this week, so you can see everything pulling back. But I think they're going to slow down soon after the Comic-Con craziness.
Yeah, I think we'll go back to a more consistent amount of drops, maybe the 2 or 3 a week, and then it'll be more manageable for the gems. I think that it's difficult to say what's going to happen, and I think that's part of the reason that I didn't feel comfortable going all in on the collectibles. Is I have no problem buying as many collectibles as I can, reasonably afford if I'm able to get them on drop. But the second that it ends up going on the secondary market, and like I said, the Labracorn was a perfect example. I could have bought it for $25, didn't. Went up to $200, could have bought it, didn't. Now it's $600, still not buying it. And I'm hearing people say, well, this is the new Donnie, right? And it could be worth $10,000. But to me, I still feel better off knowing, hey, I had the opportunity, I'll move on to the next opportunity versus, buying these collectibles that to me, like the upside to buying $100 collectible is infinitely more than the downside. Whereas buying a collectible that's already listed on the secondary marketplace, for me, gets me nervous because I'm like, well, like, is it overpriced? Like I was looking, like a perfect example, these Spider-Mans that came out today. I got a Spider-Man on the drop. I sold it for $100. It was $50. I sold it for $100, which looking back on it, looking at the floor now, seems like an absolutely stupid decision. But based on the fact that, like, here's how I looked at it, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts. There was 6,000 editions, which, yes, is a low edition count, but there's only 600 ultra rares. So there's only 600 people that could complete the set. It's not the first Spider-Man to come out on the app. There's been so many Spider-Mans that have become available already. I don't know how much it's going to be worth eventually. And then I sold it and immediately jumped up to $150. But I just see the undercutting with all the James Bond stuff and all this, and I'm just like, oh, it's going to happen again. Let me get my money out while I can. What are your thoughts on that? Other than to call me an idiot.
Spider-Man's great. The most famous superhero there is. You can literally can't lose with Spider-Man. And there's two sets of Spider-Man. There's how many Batmans are there? 10 or more, and more coming. And Ben Reilly hasn't been released yet in the Marvel Universe, from what I understand. So once he comes into play, that value is going to come in.
So what you're saying is I need to message you every time I go to put a collectible up on the market, and you can say, no, you're an idiot, or yeah, that's a good time to sell. And then we'll go from there. Because clearly I'm not making the best decisions when it comes to collectibles.
Well, I don't know much either. I just followed the experts and they tell me what to do.
Fair enough.
The comic way. He put out a video yesterday explaining how significant he is. So that helped me.
Yeah. Oh, the comic way is legit for sure. I hear you on that. And I always feel like I'm confident in my decision, and then I'll log on to social media and somebody will say something and I'm like, yeah, I was that idiot. For sure. I was the paper hands.
Like, I had no idea how important Daredevil is and how rare and expensive it's going to be. I thought Thanos was the one to go for. And then he showed me the way, the comic way. And I have like serious FOMO already. It's not even out yet.
Yeah. And that's the problem, right? Like, I always tell myself, like, oh, I'll sit this drop out. And how well does that work? I've literally participated in every single drop, I think, except for Serial Killer Series 1. Because I was like, why would anyone want to buy these? And then I look at Count Chocula, it's like $900, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to buy everything, and the cards are going to fall as they may. Like I said, I'm in the situation now where, like, I only have so many gems. Like, I only have so many resources until Omi to NFT comes in. So, I either sell some of my Omi right now and then watch Omi skyrocket up to 10 cents, and then I'm going to, never be able to sleep again. Or I need to be a little bit more selective about what collectibles I'm holding. I'm fortunate enough that I generally get most of the collectibles on the drop, I think purely just based on my internet speed. So I feel like I can justify flipping, whereas some other people maybe that only get one of every fourth or fifth drop, maybe there's a little bit more hesitation there.
Let's not kid ourselves as well. These items are expensive. It's a month's rent for some of these things. Like you see all the whales and you think, oh, I want to do that too, but it's not a viable option for many people. They have to flip. So
for sure,
I think there's a massive stigma about paper hands because everyone's in their own little world. And they don't realize like how meaningful this money is to people.
Yeah.
I got a bit carried away, and then now at this point, when I'm out of money as well, I'm thinking, oh god, it's actually really hard to get these drops with no liquidity.
Yeah. Well, and Omi the Clown, who created Ecomi Wiki. Shout out to Omi the Clown. It's a great website. You guys should all go check it out. It basically has a calculator where you can calculate the worth of your NFT portfolio on VeVe just based on the floor price of what it currently is. He has access to the backend API, so he's able to kind of get that information. I ran it the last time that I was on the website, and I think my collection was worth over $40,000. And then I go to my buddies and joke about it. I'm like, my collection's worth $40,000. And they always make a point very quickly to say it's worth 40,000 gems. So, and I said, you just wait. You just wait.
Yeah, you can sell it on Facebook or Telegram for dollars. So
that's true.
Dollars. That's just salty.
That's true. What do you think about Crypto Khaki owning more Todds than the Todd Father himself? Genji wants to know.
It's not a pissing contest. I could get more Todds if I wanted to. It's all about sound investments. Todd's overinflated price right now, so he's already overextended in my opinion. So it's great. It's great for me to sell him high and get comics low. I sold one Todd, one Superman for a 1,000 edition secret rare of the comic I wanted. So it's a good trade for me.
And that's a good way to look at it. I don't know if this did Foster and maybe autocorrect or something change it. I don't know if you know a Forrest in the community, but no, I didn't sell any of my Omi. So I'm holding. So let's see what else we got here. I think this is a good point, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it. So the IT guy says trusting the company Marvel trusts works for me. So, I mean, obviously what he's referencing here is Marvel has their own DD when they're, signing on with a partner. DD is due diligence for those that may not know. And they obviously would have vetted, David Yu, Dan Carruthers, Alfred Kahn, and the whole team before they signed an exclusive partnership for 4 years with this company to create not only collectibles, but comic books, and then advertise for them essentially for free every single drop that's coming on the app. What do you think about that?
That's why I sleep so easy at night and my investment's safe. I know Ecomi's going to be here for 10 years, so there's nothing to worry about. Just need patience now. That's the hardest part, is waiting, because you know what's coming. You just don't know how long.
For sure. No, and that's a very interesting point. Like you said, it's just about waiting and seeing when things are going to kind of work out and happen. And, I try and tell myself that it's a minimum of 3 to 5 year time horizon, but I still, to this day, as much as I preach it, I still catch myself, checking the price of Omi, it'll go up 30% in a day. And, I'm still texting all my friends about it. We're up today, boys, even though it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. So it's human nature. We're excited about this project. And I think as more and more people start to find out about it, more people are going to get excited about it as well. So it's, yeah.
Fidelity did a study on investment accounts and said the best performing accounts are the ones who are dead or forgot their login details. So the more you screw with it, the worse you get. The problem is it's really, really hard to sit there and be patient and not do anything. It's so hard.
It really is. And this goes exactly to your point, Chris, making fun of me here. You just broke the Todd Fathers with that weak flip. I saw it in his eyes. Yes. Selling the Spider-Man for, I think it was $40 of profit was a pretty... I don't know. Like I didn't think I was going to get it in the first place. And then I got it and then I kind of just panicked. I was like, whatever, like I need gems and this is going to get me more gems than what I had before. And like I said, it's a paper-handed move and I know people will make fun of me for it, but at the same time, I'm really flat broke, guys. I don't have any more money. So
yeah. He's not going to explode overnight. So you got time. It's just the ultra rare. That's going to go like 5K soon. So
yeah,
money.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have sold that one if I had gotten that one. But hold on a second. I just got an announcement from VeVe Collectibles. She's back in honor of New York Comic Con and 20 years of Toy Tokyo. We're pleased to announce that Simone Legno plus Tokidoki's mysterious Dragon Girl will drop as an all gold Toy Tokyo exclusive on Saturday, the 9th of October at 12 p.m. Pacific time. So I think for anyone in the chat that's curious here, this just came out from VeVe literally as we were talking here. So doesn't look like there's any details released on it yet that I'm seeing. But I wonder what do you think? So based on an announcement like that, like, do you think that that's going to increase the value of the rest of the Dragon Girls, or do you think this will hurt the value because people will focus?
The whole market's going to drain. The market's going to drain pretty bad, I think.
Okay. And I wonder if this is it's an all gold Tokyo exclusive. I'm assuming it's a secret rare. Because I think the Lucky, like, this seems to be a theme, right? The Lucky was a Toy Tokyo exclusive with Simone Lagno, or not Simone Lagno, with Jermaine Rogers, and that was a set on its own. So I wonder. I mean, we don't know how much this is going to go for. If logic stays true, it will be $90. What do you think it'll go for in the secondary market?
4 to 5K.
4 to 5K. And if you're not able to get one on the drop, will you be buying one in the secondary market?
Yeah, if I can, if I got the money.
If you got the money. So you'll be draining the rest. Midnight Run says, why would you sell before Immutable X and added exchanges? I know we've talked about this a little bit, but any more insight you can provide as to, with all those catalysts coming?
Yeah, because it can help the collectibles too. It's not just going to help the token.
I agree with that.
The exchanges aren't going to come the next day after the transition. It takes a few weeks at least.
You're right. And I think the collectibles, I think we'll see I think what people, in my opinion, what people need to realize, the token itself is not going to pump because we move over to Immutable. When we go over to Immutable, it becomes an ERC20 token standard, but that in and of itself doesn't create value for the token. What creates value for the token is the interoperability in the sense of being listed on exchanges and being able to be staked as a form of utility and OMI to NFT. Immutable step one to that, but I feel like to an extent, the current price that we're at right now has priced in the value, even though I do think the token overall is undervalued. I feel like people have bought in based on that transition. I don't think we're going to see a huge spike in the token once we are confirmed over on Immutable. When we will start to see those spikes is when we move over to Immutable and they say, oh yeah, and now you're listed on Kraken, or now you're listed on Gemini, or now you're listed on Binance or Coinbase. Like, that to me will be the pump. What do you think?
Yeah, Coinbase and Binance, those should absolutely rocket it. Because SHIB's one's like 10 billion market cap. That's nuts.
It's incredible. And what do you think? Is it because they got listed on a new exchange, or what was it that caused that pump?
Just FOMO. People just rushing in on the gold rush.
Yeah.
I think on zero utility you can get to 10 billion. Nobody's got so much chance.
I think 10 billion for the market cap is just truly the beginning. Like, I think a 10x from where we are right now is, for me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Yeah. And regardless of how much time it takes, and the problem is, and this is the issue being in crypto, right? And this is what I tried to explain to my friends. Like, I'm technically up like 24% on my OMI investment this year, which, I mean, in crypto terms really isn't that much, right? But we will eventually be up 5,000%, 10,000%. But it's just like, the problem is that people aren't willing to wait for it. You know what I mean? Like, everyone feels that they're entitled to get these things now. And that's what I struggle with the most with some people in the community. The community, I'd say 99.9% of people are absolutely fantastic. And, even the people that I maybe don't agree with, they all have valid concerns. But it's some people that feel that there's a sense of entitlement for VeVe and Ecomi to do something for them now, today. It needs to happen now because I invested $1,000 in you and you owe me your life now. Like, I struggle with that a little bit. I don't know about you.
Well, the hardest part is watching everything else go by, like all the shit coins going crazy, and trying to keep conviction when you see that around you.
Yeah. I think when you understand the fundamentals, though, I think it's not that hard to see the conviction, because at the end of the day, like I invested in the Safe Moons, I invested in the Bonfires, I invested in Sheeb, I did their liquidity event, I did all that, I did make money, but to me that was a gamble. Like, I was gambling with money. Whereas with Ecomi, the OMI token, and the VeVe app, I'm investing. Like, this is truly an investment. There are people in this community that are investors, that are business people, that are lawyers, that are doctors. well-respected members of the community that understand business, that understand finance, that understand the direction that this project is moving. There's companies that are investing their intellectual property into the company because they understand the direction. Like, to me, it's not, it's pretty obvious.
We're not going to get rugged. That's the main thing. It's just when. That's the question.
Yeah, exactly. Ludwig says, why do you think Todd is overinflated when people think this is just the beginning?
He's done it 5 times in the last few months. He's going to go higher, but the other one's going to move faster, to be fair. I haven't studied the market for a while because I really just started buying today. So I need to do more research before I give you a proper answer of what I would choose over Todd.
That's fair. Now, do you think for the collectibles, do you think, like, outside of IP itself, like, do you think things like, as an example, it's Todd's first birthday? Now, yes, it's the first collectible on the app, sure. But do you think when we start to hit milestones, like hypothetically, we already have Star Wars on the app and it releases. Do you think when May 4th comes around, we see a pump in the collectible prices? We get, a Freddy versus Jason in July. On Halloween, do we see a pump? We somehow license Santa Claus. Like, do you think those play a role in anything?
I think so, because the pumps come from noticeability. When people start talking about something, you look at it more. And if everyone's looking and if everyone's paying attention to that, it's going to slowly creep up. And once it slowly creeps up, the FOMO kicks in. So it's like a ball of moss rolling down a hill. It picks up speed.
For sure. And Split Sniper, to answer that question there, I still can't fathom the idea that Ecomi moves faster in the business world than traditional business, yet slower in the crypto world. I think it's because the movement that you see in the crypto world is based off of hype and FOMO and hysteria and isn't built off of a lot of fundamentals. It's very easy to release a project, gain a lot of celebrity influence by paying them, by incentivizing them, getting them to pump out your coin, offering absolutely nothing, and then just watching your coin explode when it has 10 trillion tokens or a quadrillion tokens and 6 zeros and whatever. Like, it's very easy to pump up a project like that. Ecomi is working with the biggest licensors and businesses in the world, and crypto moves far quicker than realistically it should. People operate outside of regulation. People aren't doing things up to snuff. So yes, I agree with you. Sometimes I do get frustrated, just like everyone else, with the timeframes that are provided and then are missed or whatever the case may be. But at the same time, if you understand what you're investing in and you ignore all the noise kind of in the short term and then just say, you know what, I'm not investing for the project for anything that it's doing right now. I'm investing for what it's going to be in 3 to 5 years. Then, at least for me, I find myself a little bit less stressed about it all. Like I'll be honest with you, when they delayed the VeVe-verse, like 3 months or 6 months or whatever, it's been delayed now. Like, it's not coming out end of year. It's coming out, Q1 or possibly even Q2 of next year. Of course, I was excited about the VeVe-verse, but I also know that, Omi could still hit 50 cents to $1 in 2025, which is more than enough for me to retire. So I'm not really worried about the fact that it got delayed by 3 months. Like, yeah, my investment won't go up as much in the 3 months as I was hoping it to, but why are you in the project? And if you understand why you're in the project and you're in it for the short term because you're looking to make those massive gains, this may not be the most appropriate project for you. So it's really just the understanding of that. Do you have any thoughts on that, Steven?
No, I agree. A lot of people got in early. They're the ones benefiting the most because they got billions and millions of tokens for a fraction of what we paid. So we compete against them. That's the biggest uphill battle.
I agree.
I think with the web app as well, that utility with the collectibles will help to collectibles short term. That's the reason why I made the transition personally. For
sure. No, I hear that. Ludwig says, just like the Labbits, the Dragon Girls will go up until the drop and then they'll fall again. Outside of the Dragon Girls, because I know you have a few of them and the Labbits have gone up and down, do you have any concerns about the amount of liquidity that is currently available for the purchasing of collectibles? I know we're moving over to Immutable and it should increase some of that, but do you ever have any concerns that, like, the same collectibles are just being recycled by the same people over and over?
They have a higher floor now than they did a few weeks ago. So the liquidity is coming in. It's moving around, but some of it's sticking. It's like throwing mud at a wall. Some of it falls off. Some of it sticks.
For sure.
Yeah, they definitely pulled back, but they're still higher than they were. So.
Definitely. No, I agree with that too. And I think for me, like I said, like I'm holding the collectibles that I get now, I generally flip if I'm not going to be able to complete the set, because it gives me the liquidity to be able to have the gems for doing that. But for the collectibles that complete sets, especially until that Master Collector Program article comes out, hopefully this week or soon, #soon, I will be holding everything that completes a set. So I have 19 completed sets right now, because I don't know what that's going to do for the Master Collector Program. If it gives me early access or an advantage to buying land is going to be worth so much money, guys. Like I can't, like, look at Sandbox, look at Decentraland, look how much their land was selling for, and look how much it's worth now. And then think about what VeVe is in comparison to those projects. Like, land is going to be worth so much money. But what is your thoughts on that?
They said VeVe is not going to be paid to win, so you won't necessarily need sets to qualify.
True.
It'll help, but it won't be the only catalyst involved.
Yeah.
So I think holding individual collectibles will play a key role.
I agree. And I agree. And I've had that conversation with people on Twitter a couple times. Like, yes, the Master Collector Program will not be pay to win, but then again, it is a program centralized specifically around collecting. So yes, there will be other avenues that you'll have to participate in, but like, how could you be a master collector if you don't, and this obviously is an exaggeration, but like, how could you be a master collector if you don't own any collectibles, right? Like, so like, yeah, it's great that you're participating in the app and you're commenting on people's posts and doing all that, but like, at some point, like, there is going to have to be some value in holding collectibles, or else no one will hold collectibles. Like, they're a business, they want to make money at the end of the day, right? So
they need to put the entry level quite high, otherwise people are going to have 10 accounts and then 10 slots of land.
I agree. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or everyone's just going to buy Superman, and that's going to count as a set, and they own, like they own 50 Superman, and then they have 50 accounts that have a set, and then they're all master collectors automatically. And so no, I agree, the barrier will have to be I agree. So Omion says, do you guys think the SEC might come after the Omi token because it's in kind of a gray area of the Howey test? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I don't think so. They got an incredibly intelligent team behind them. They're not going to take those chances.
I agree with you.
Khan, like, he's a global leader in his industry. He's not going to make a mistake like this.
No, I agree. And I think Dan has even alluded to that in some AMAs when people have asked, like, well, if I stake the Omi token, will I be able to earn more Omi tokens? And that's like classic, like how you get classified as a, like under the Howey test. Yeah, like how you get classified as a security. So I don't see them doing that because it would make absolutely no sense for them to do that. There are already so many forms of utility that will exist for the token. And like Dan has said, it's a utility token. It's not a security token. Now, with that being said, we obviously don't know what the Omi utility program will look like. Do you have any thoughts of what you think may be coming, or anything that you would like to see come to that program?
I really think they should implement more Omi-specific utilities where you have to have Omi to get something like a collectible. You can only buy it with Omi. So it gives a reason to hold it, rather than just, Omi can do what money can do. So I don't know.
I agree. Yeah, and I think that will contribute to token burn as well. Now, we do know that they will be adding Omi to NFT in the primary market for a percentage of the collectibles. The reason that they can't do it for all the collectibles is that they still have to pay licensor fees. We also know that they're going to be adding Omi to NFT in the secondary marketplace, where you will have the choice as to whether you list your collectible for gems, Omi, or both. And then the buyer will have the choice. And then we also know utilities such as Omi to land will be coming out when the VeVeverse comes out. And then all non-IP related products that Ecomi sells will burn 100% of the Omi that's used. I've heard a lot of people say, and it frustrates me to no end, Ecomi is just a money grab. All they care about is money. The reason they're not doing buybacks is because they want to steal your money. They, you know, a million things that I just personally, no offense, guys, like it just, like if you actually break it down and think about it, it makes no sense. But do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, that's just not true. You need cash flow to make these collectibles. It's not cheap. People don't understand how many hours go into creating these things, and they have to outsource most of it because their team's so small.
Well, yeah, and
as part of business, you need the cash flow, otherwise you're not going to survive for too long.
yeah, and like on top of that, and like guys, if this doesn't bring home the point, I don't know what does. Like David Yu in his interview with the Chinese investors specifically came out and said that collectibles is not even going to be the main focal point of the entire system that they have. Like the VeVeverse and the utility and everything that they have coming is likely going to play a larger role. And land, they have already come out and said you're going to be able to buy with Omi, and they're not going to take any money from that. So if land could conceivably be their biggest revenue generator because there's no IP to pay, there's no licensor to pay, they could just take all that money in and be rich from the money that you like. They're taking 0% of those purchases. Like, how could anyone realistically sit here and say they're just in it for the money? Like, it baffles me.
That burn is going to be unreal. So they said they're going to burn 100% of the used. That's when you're going to see billions and billions burnt. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I did a video on that on my channel a few weeks ago, and I did make a mistake on the secondary market calculation. But even just based on Decentraland, which in my opinion will be a smaller project than Omi, we could burn like 10% of the circulating supply like overnight. And that's like this is coming directly out of circulation. We're not talking reserve wallet. So it's just, it's incredible. And that's why they're not burning any tokens right now, in my opinion, because they're like, oh, dang, like this project's going to explode regardless. Like we don't need to give it more reasons. Like we've given it enough. So Split Sniper 7 says, what are your thoughts on being able to burn the NFTs themselves? Dan and David are brainstorming the idea for those that want to burn some of their collectibles.
What do you get out of it? What's the purpose of burning them?
Well, based on what I've understood, the idea that they've thrown around is you could basically, let's say you're a whale that owns 80% of the Donnies and you burn all of the Donnies except for a couple. There's now, instead of 150, there's only 50 of them. And then in turn, you've created even more scarcity.
Nah.
Nah, he says.
It's
just an idea that they've thrown around. I think another idea that they threw around was making comic books degradable. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I get the idea behind it, but there's only like 500 of them, so I don't think that's the avenue to go. Otherwise, people won't use it. There's no point.
That's true.
If it did degrade anyway, not many people read them, so it's not going to change much. Just leave it there sitting in your vault, doing as it is now.
Yeah.
How many people have read a whole comic? I haven't yet.
I purposely haven't for that exact reason. The second people started talking about that green check mark, I was like, not a chance. Like, and even when I go to show someone my collectible, like we have the Secret Rare Amazing Spider-Man #1, I purposely don't even put that in AR. I show someone else a different comic book. I'm like, I don't want to risk that, like it records it and that it's
in red minus 50% value.
Yeah, oh my god, I'd cry. You heard Brandon Alexander, guys, smash the like button. It's on him, not me. He also asks, now that we are transitioning to Immutable X, approximately how long do we estimate until Omi shows up on Coinbase and Binance? Thanks for doing this, boys. Thanks, Brandon.
November, maybe. Mid-November.
You think that we're going to see a Coinbase or a Binance listing in November?
I don't think Binance, but maybe Coinbase.
Wow. That's crazy. Honestly, that's bullish, man. I'd 100% be down for that. Like it's so hard to say for sure. Like I'm not entirely sure, but it's I would absolutely like what that would do to the token, guys. If that happened, like while we're still in the bull run at the end of this year, like that'd be crazy.
Yeah, they really need something like that during the cycle. Otherwise they're going to miss the trick.
I agree.
If they start doing it end of December, most of the hype cycle's gone, so it's like now or never.
Yeah, that's fair. Do you think that they have exchanges lined up? I know that they had talked about once they moved over to Immutable that they already had some exchanges lined up. Do you believe that they kind of have that in the works already?
Yeah, they said they got exchanges lined up, but I heard there's a queue system. So even if it's lined up, you can't just jump in front of the queue. You
Right.
have to wait your turn. So once the places are in position, then it's go back to the queue and then wait your turn. So they're ready to go, but the exchanges need time. They can't just jump you in front.
No, for sure. No, I hear that, but I think once the exchanges see how well the token is doing, just based on the, no offense, but crappy exchanges it's listed on, they may want to, the exchanges might want to bump them up on the list because they're going to want to be making those fees from the sales and stuff. So, but we'll see. The IT guy says, Todd Father, do you think you'll move into YouTube or Twitch? Is it best to follow you on Twitter? Great chat to listen to. Thanks, IT.
I was actually thinking about doing that when the web app comes out. I really want to make some massive showrooms because right now it's janky as hell on the phone. So I want to do some crazy, crazy vaults when the web app comes, and I will be streaming.
That's true. No,
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. This was in relation, I think, to our conversation about the Master Collector program. Pirate Angel says, but sets are different. If you weren't here 3+ months ago, you don't have very many sets because you can't afford the Secret or Ultra Rare. And I agree with that. Like, they do need to balance that, because if everyone that was just here early is just going to be all the Master Collectors and no one else has a shot, then there will be no engagement. Like, people will just give up on the app.
It's not going to be paid to win. There's got to be a chance.
Yeah. Do you think that there'll be something in relation to, like, you'll get like a special badge or something, like you were here like season 1 OG? Like, do you think there'll be like something related to that so that
you won't personally, but your collectibles will? They said season 1's going to have badge of honor, so that's going to bump the price up on most.
That's fair. Crypto City, hey Foster, do you think VeVe should buy a cheap foreign exchange so they can offer OMI for OMI staking thereby circumventing SEC regs?
Do you know how expensive it is to buy exchanges?
Yeah. Like, I mean, I know that they're doing well for themselves, but that would be. I think at the end of the day, like, you have to remember that Ecomi as a company is working with so many licensors that would scrutinize or judge them for trying to go out of their way to circumvent rules and regulations. Yeah, like. I don't see that happening. And honestly, I don't see it being needed, because I think that they're going to already have cheeky ways to do it. Like, I think Hello K put out a video a few months ago when the idea of like this golden gem was floating around. So like, if you had staked, a certain amount of OMI, you would earn this golden gem, which technically doesn't have any value. It's only valuable in the app, but that gem would equate to regular gems, which technically aren't a security because they're not fiat or a crypto. And then you could buy collectibles with that. So they could reward you with like a golden gem or something like that. So I could see them doing something like that. But what do you think?
I like that. That's cool.
Yeah. I think that'd be really cool. And honestly, like, guys, you have to remember, like, they've been at this before, like 4 years before any of us even knew what the heck this was, or at least the vast majority of us didn't know. Like, they're thinking of all this stuff, right? Like, let's be honest. Like,
that's what I said as well. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
About giving the OMI token a purpose, so it forces you to stake it and hold it. And if you can only buy certain collectibles with golden gems, like the special secret rare drops, it's so incentivizing to hold it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, could you imagine if you could only buy the Simone Legno like drop if you locked up your OMI for like 3 months? Like, it was like, minimum 3 months and you earn this gem?
Yeah, and
that'd be crazy.
The more you stake, the longer you hold it, the more gems you get. But obviously, it can't be like 10 or 20 gems, but small increments and more incentivizing to hold more.
No, I completely agree. And now Pirate Angel throwing a little bit of friendly shade at you. He says, so why did Todd sell OMI again? So confused. 100 to 1,000 X isn't enough ROI.
I don't know. It's a short-term play for me. I think there's so many opportunities in the market right now, and I think it's going to be more over the next week. I just want more. I'm addicted to them.
No. Yeah. No, I hear you on that. Hard Life says, Foster, of course, they don't take in the OMI from the land sale and burning. They are holding billions in OMI. It's also in their best interest. They need to burn that supply as much as we do. 100% right. They do need to burn the OMI, and I think that that's what people often forget, is that the main source of revenue that they're going to make, that Dan and David are going to make, is from the value of their tokens, right? So they are, out of everyone, they are the most incentivized to create as much utility and value to the token as possible. So don't sleep on that. Like they're like, it makes no sense. Like anytime that people say like, oh, like why aren't they doing this? Like they focus on the VeVe app first, because the VeVe app, the OMI token doesn't do anything without the VeVe app. Like OMI token is not going to succeed as a token without VeVe succeeding as a product. So that's why they focused on the VeVe app. Now that they're starting to hit their stride a little bit more, they're getting things a little bit more organized. Now they're able to focus on moving into the token, in my opinion, anyways.
Just remember, they're in the same boat as everyone. They have tokens too, billions. They want to see it succeed. So just
for sure,
be patient. That's the only thing.
Yeah. IT Guy says staking only for a high percentage APY would be great. Hope VeVe move into play to earn gaming to help generate gems in OMI to help us fund a future drop or to contribute to living costs. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Trevor spoke on this topic. Gaming is very, very hard to do. You need a massive team. It takes a lot of man hours. It's something they want to do, but that's not their priority. They want to get the VeVeverse up first in 6 months, ideally, and then it's going to take a few months to get that rolling. Gaming is not coming for years.
I agree with you. I don't think like a full scale game is coming, but I do think, if they have partnerships with, as an example, Pixion Games or another gaming company that is creating a game on their behalf, I think we could see light style gamification quicker, but I wouldn't expect to be playing Fortnite or GTA and the VeVeverse anytime soon.
Need proper teams for that.
Yeah.
I can see bridging from one metaverse to another.
Yeah.
There's tons of metaverses coming out now, and some are specifically for gaming.
Right.
So maybe there'd be interoperability between the two.
Yeah. And I also don't think, and I could be wrong, but I don't see play to earn gaming coming to generate OMI, because if anything, I think that would put negative sell pressure on the token, because now you're rewarding people in OMI. I don't think that they would do that necessarily. Maybe gems, maybe, but even then, like I don't know. I don't know if I see that. As cool as it would be, I think that the token is meant to be deflationary, and I think if you start rewarding people in OMI, you're essentially creating negative burn pressure, because you're incentivizing people by having them have more OMIs, and then they're going to sell their OMI, which could hurt the price. So I don't know if you'll see people rewarded in gaming for holding OMI. Similarly to, I don't know if you'll see OMI being rewarded for OMI as a part of the utility program. However, I do think there will be a ton of other incentives that will either allow you to, in a back end way, buy more OMI or buy the things that OMI would allow you to buy.
I know, David, you once mentioned concerts in the VeVeverse. I was thinking something like a subscription service similar to Netflix. Imagine every user paid 10 OMI a month to have access to concerts. If you've got 2 million users, I'm terrible at math, but 20 million.
Well, that would be that would be 2 billion OMI. Well, sorry. Yeah. 2 billion OMI. If you had 2 million users do it.
Service, and you pay an OMI, and that's another source of earning.
Wow. That's actually a great idea. I had never thought of that. Yeah, that's fantastic. I completely agree with that. That's I think a subscription service would work absolutely fantastically. And then, like you said, the OMI just gets burnt at that point. Like you're burning OMI to gain utility. Yeah, that's fantastic. Do you think whales are still a problem? And I'm assuming, we'll go with both, in the OMI token and with the VeVe app.
More in the token, because in the app you can just scoot around them. You don't have to follow their footsteps. But where the token is, you're kind of locked. They're creating these sellable on purpose to manipulate the price. They're driving it up and then pushing it down.
Do you think all of that's going to change once we move over to Immutable and we can start seeing all of what the collectibles are actually selling for, what wallets are getting the floors for, like that are scooping up all these? Like, do you think that, I don't want to call it scrutinization, but I think just the access to information, do you think that will be a positive for the project?
The only thing that'll affect the token would be more exchanges and more liquidity.
But I mean specifically for collectibles.
Oh yeah, the collectibles going to get crazy. Once it's legitimized in the NFT community, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
You'll see an influx of the high-end whales coming in.
For sure. I agree. And Omion says, can't wait for the Foster X Mr. Pegliuca stream on Saturday. For those of you guys that aren't aware, Henry Pegliuca owns over 100 million Omi and is a huge whale similar to the Todd Father with collectibles. He's big. He's working on collecting all of the first editions of every single comic that drops on the app. He's spent absurd amounts of money. And myself and Randy Chavez and Henry Pegliuca will be doing a stream. Henry will actually be live at New York Comic Con on Saturday, and we will be doing a stream. I believe it'll be at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. So stay tuned for more information about that. And the three of us will be talking about everything that's going on in the community, any more announcements and information that's come up. And of course, all of you guys are more than welcome to stop by. Big up, boys. Thoughts on Ecomi creating multiple platforms similar to VeVe? Example, each license having its own, but still utilizing Omi. I had thrown that concept around before for like a kids platform version of VeVe, and it had gotten shot down a little bit, and I understood the rationale behind it. But what are your thoughts?
Keep everyone centralized. You want all the eyes and all the collectibles here. It's like going to, say you want bread and milk. You don't want to go to two shops. You want to go to one shop. You want one shop, like Amazon.
Exactly. Or even if you just went to the grocery store for bread, or you went to the shop for bread, and maybe you didn't even know that you wanted milk. You didn't know that milk existed. Yeah, and then you're on that app, and then you go, oh, wait, as a matter of fact, I think I would like some milk. And then, oh, hey, and they also have some cookies. And so, yes, I agree that keeping it all together will be beneficial. And I think that for those of you that have concerns right now that the app itself is maybe a little bit overwhelming on a smaller screen, I think that you will notice a large change once the web app comes out and the functionality and the ability that it gives you to do different things, whether it be something as simple as scrolling through collectibles to something a little bit more pronounced, like, setting up your showrooms and things like that.
Yeah, the web app's going to change everything. I hate navigating on the phone. It's horrible. For the market as well, you can only see like 4 things at a time.
I 100% agree. Yeah. No, I 100% agree. And look at this here. Non-fungible wonderful in the chat. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate that. Pineapple Gang performing in the VeVe-verse. Let's go, Pineapple Gang. You know it, boys. You know it. That'd be dope. That would be dope. Yeah. So we already covered this. What do we think about the Omi whale problem? I think even if it does exist right now, we're going to get to a point very quickly where it just gets squashed because people aren't going to be able to keep up with it. And that's...
you need more exchanges before that problem's solved.
Yeah. More liquidity and exchanges and more eyes will solve that problem, I think, pretty much almost immediately. We will struggle until we hit our all-time high. People will be taking profits and looking to, if they don't have the conviction in the project, move on to other things, or at the very least, people that have a lot of money will want to take out some profit. So we may struggle. I think once we hit price discovery, though, anything over our all-time high is going to be pretty epic.
Yeah, Coinbase listing or something big like that. Just send it to the moon.
To the moon. To
the main question is when. That's the question.
Yeah, when and soon. The two favorite words in the English dictionary. Unbelievable. Pirate Angel says, what's your recommendation for newbies? Drops are becoming more difficult and many are priced out of most collectibles. Where do you invest your first $100 and how do you turn that into your first 1,000?
That's a tough one. Just get lucky in a drop. That's your only chance, really. Just keep trying and use 2 phones, everyone else's.
Do you think that there's any collectibles that are in the price range that Pirate Angel might be referencing that are undervalued that could go up in value soon? Or
I like the Dolce, whatever. But yeah, just focus. If that's your budget, just focus on drops. Get 2 phones and just split the gems. It doesn't. $100 doesn't go far on this app.
I agree with you. Pirate Angel, if you're not sure about Align Gate, I would look up VeVe Vault. He has a YouTube channel and he talks about tips and tricks for getting drops. I would very much recommend you looking into that. It's not something that most people will generally advertise, but I'm all for having everyone have an equal shot.
It's your only chance.
Yeah, it's really your only chance. So look up Align Gate, take a look at that. Look into it. That'll be your best chance. If you're already doing that, check your internet, how you're connecting. Are you doing it via Wi-Fi? Are you doing it on your phone's network? What is your ping? What is your latency? The lower the ping and the lower your latency, the better chance you're going to have of getting a drop. So those are all kind of things to focus on.
In essence, you just line up the buy button, the error message, and just spam click tapping through it.
Go crazy.
Save you looking at it.
If you don't put your finger through your phone, you're not pushing hard enough. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Hard Life, what is your outsight? Interesting. Opposite of insight, but we're gonna roll with it. For VeVe in terms of NFT utility, I mean, LOL, for example, where we should not see this collectible FOMO as we have it now, but some gamification for kids with infinite mints.
Yeah, move away from the gamification idea for now. It's not gonna happen anytime soon. The main thing is more like a Sims type game where you can build and create your own showrooms, houses, monuments, statues, anything with your creativity. That's where the main use case is going to come in, the web app. That's what I'm looking forward to the most.
You think the web app's going to be one of the major factors?
It's going to help so much. People hate using mobile phones.
I agree. I do worry, though, that the web app is going to further accentuate the issue with bots and emulators, though.
Yeah, I do too.
So
you can get multiple browsers and just have an auto-click go like that all the way through.
Yeah. So I do worry about that a little bit, but it'll be interesting to see what kind of system they're running to catch these issues, and
the only way you can fix it is doing different positions for the buy now button. Because if you can align it, it's so easy to auto-click it. But if it's in a different position every time, that's what's going to stop the bots. So you can't tap every single pixel on the phone for every single phone.
I honestly think that they should do that. I think there's absolutely no reason why the buy now button can't populate at a different spot on the screen every single time that there's a drop. Like even today, as an example, the Spider-Man drop, like it wasn't an align gate drop. Like you actually had to wait. And yes, most of us knew where it was going to roughly be coming because we've seen videos of it from the first time. But if every single time it was like, let's say one of 6 places, then I think, that would hopefully mitigate, people's concerns about bots.
Yeah, it's a layer of protection.
Yeah. Nova X says when moon. Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. Hashtag soon. That's what we're hoping for. So we shall see. Split Sniper 7 says, what do you see as a good ratio for users to drops? Eventually, the number of drops will be way too small to meet the demands of the user base.
I think they'll scale accordingly. As more people come, they'll scale up the drops and scale up the numbers. They're doing a pretty good job. You don't want to saturate the market with 50,000 editions. There's no point. There's no value in it.
I agree. Do you ever see, like, similar to Pirate Angel, or to Hard Life, sorry, what he was saying about creating like an unlimited edition collectible? Do you ever see them doing something like that?
Yeah, shelves and plant pots and all that crap.
Yeah.
Because that'll help burn as well. If you can buy accessories with Omi, it's another way of burning. And we need them as well.
I agree with that. I think that will be the type of unlimited collectibles that we do see. It won't be IP or brand specific. It will be things that come out from VeVe and the VeVe-verse. I don't think that we'll ever see a collectible that comes out that it's unlimited. I don't even think that we're going to see buy as many as you want in 24 hours, because we've clearly seen that, drops sell out instantaneously. And if 100,000 people are using a line gate at the same time, then you just watched 100,000 editions get bought in 2 seconds. So I don't foresee that happening. I think that the balance will be more so premium collectibles versus, I don't want to call them lower quality collectibles, but collectibles that maybe have, a cheaper price entry that can be available to more. Like, I don't think you're ever going to see, the Labbit drops that, are more of a niche product that, never have more than 3,000 even for the common. I don't think you're ever going to see 100,000 Labbits because they're not going to sell, right? So
there's no point. It's a collector's app. You got to have some spice to it, some reason to hold it.
I agree. Mike Squires, how's it going, Mike? Does Todd Father personally know ETH Maxi's ready to jump into the VeVe market?
I do not know.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't. I'm not connected in the overarching community that much. Like I don't know, like I don't really have any friends or anyone that I know personally that has been investing in NFTs. Like I found this project myself, not through anyone that I knew. So I don't really know anyone that's doing that. However, I do know just based on scrolling through social media that there are tons of people that are interested in this project and will likely come in once they have the access and means to do so.
All I want to say is, if you've seen the crap they've been buying, those pixelated toads and cats. Honestly, once Superman and Spider-Man and comics are dropping on OpenSea, you'll see the FOMO. There's literally no reason why you would not FOMO into a blue chip project that's going to stick around for 10 years. Like, why take the gamble?
I agree. Do you ever get worried? And I think we've talked about this before, but do you ever get worried that having like 10,000 of a specific mint will just make it less valuable because they're not individual? Like, yeah, the mint number is different, but the collectible itself is identical to every other collectible.
Yeah, we touched on this in an AMA a few days ago. They're working on accessories, like a different kind of cape, like a gold cape for Superman, maybe. They're trying to touch it up that way. They are working on it and planning options. So
no, and I think that will be good. Do you see us being able to use, like, do you see yourself being able to use Superman as an avatar, or do you think that they're going to come out with actual avatars?
No, why not? Twitter bringing out verification for NFTs soon, and if it's a legit NFT on the Ethereum blockchain, you can have a one of 1,750 Risso or Pride. Pride's going to go crazy. That's going to be in museums and art galleries and millionaire houses.
I agree.
When like basketball players and football players start talking about, oh yeah, I bought a Pride, have you got one? They're going to want one. They got enough money to buy one, so watch it.
That's true. And you got 7 of them, so make sure you hold them tight. Pirate Angel says, say I'm a whale. How do I even get my money into VeVe without paying Apple taxes and more than 600 gems at a time? Of course, not how you do it, but just in general, how would one do that?
Yeah, so I would personally get USDT on an exchange and find a trustworthy person on Facebook and then do a gem swap. People usually sell gems for 0.85, so you're getting a 15% discount anyway. And if you're outside the US, you're not paying conversion fees and the taxes. So you're getting such a huge benefit from people who are.
For sure. So Pirate Angel, I completely agree with everything Stephen just said there. All I would say is make sure that you find someone that you either know or that someone that you know can vouch for. And then what you would do is, you know, I know there's a couple of people in the community. I think Wendy Stabalis, if you look her up on Twitter, I think I think there's a few people that do escrow services. So, I mean, I'm sure you could always do that for buying gems as well. I think they normally charge like 1% to 2% or something of the transaction fee. And then what you would do is you would send your gems to them, and then they would receive the USDT from the other person and vice versa. And then they would make sure that each party gets the proper amounts that they're supposed to be getting. So that's what I would do. And then of course, if you know someone directly, then that's what you can do. And then there's a process behind what you would do if it's over 600 gems. Or I think it's even 500 that you can send from one person to another. So there is a process with buying a collectible and doing stuff that I'm not going to explain openly on this stream right now. But
yeah, well, message me and I'll put you into contact with people I trust.
There you go.
Twitter, the Todd Father.
Message the Todd Father, and you will you'll be able to get that info from him. Perfect. Mark says, thoughts on the Marvel 1939 Secret Rare #1. I know you don't own one right now, but what are your thoughts on it?
Amazing piece of history. I got priced out, so I'm not rushing in. It is what it is. It's too late for me.
Do you ever sit back and go, wow, those were selling for like $600 to $1,000 the day that they were listed on the marketplace?
Nah, you wouldn't sleep if you thought of all the mistakes you've made.
Yeah.
Everyone's learning. It's a new industry. It's a new.
Yeah.
Everything's new. No one knows. So
there's
no point crying about it.
No, I completely agree. Sometimes I catch myself thinking about something and I'm like, ooh, I don't want to go down that road because I'm just going to end up losing sleep and it's just not going to be fun for anyone.
Yeah, price for $250 each. So
Yeah, that's crazy. And that's the thing, right? Like it's all relative. Like you win some, you lose some. So it's about focusing on
Swings and roundabouts.
the W's and not the L's that you've taken and going from there. So Mark says I got one for sale. Todd Father, hit me up if you're interested. So I guess he's selling a Secret Rare Marvel 1939 comic. So
Nah, dude, I'm out of liquidity.
yeah, I hear you.
I need money for Daredevil first.
I hear you. I hear you. It's painful. Nova says, when can I buy a shiny Mega Charizard? When do you honestly think that they have the Pokemon license or that they will acquire the Pokemon license?
Shadow of doubt. Come on, let's be real. They said we don't get any licenses which we don't want. It's Alfred Kahn and David Yu, the two biggest Pokemon geeks in the whole world. Like, yeah.
For sure. No, I 100% agree with you there. I 100% agree with you. We got a rapid fire coming in here. Rapid fire, better investment, 10K worth of Omi or Pride? Go. And he says not financial advice.
Pride's on discount. I go for Pride.
Pride?
Because if you buy it through the secondary market, you get the gems cheaper anyway. So there's discounts everywhere. The main thing in your mind right now, what do you think goes first? Pride for 70k gems or Omi at 7 cents or 6 cents? Because that's the balance right now, 10 times.
And what's your time frame?
Month.
Yeah, that's tough. I reserve comment for after the Omi utility article comes out, because if that comes out and it's solid or we get listed on Coinbase, then I would say that Omi's got a fair fight at taking on the competition. I think if things are delayed or pushed back, then yeah, I would definitely say that the Pride is an absolute no-brainer. I would say that is true. I know we talked about, is there any licenses in general that you'd like to see come on, but are there any artists? Like, I don't know if you're like into that scene, but like,
I'm not a collector. I'm not well versed in the whole story or background to anyone.
Are there any collectibles that you own right now that, regardless of the amount of money that someone offered you, you would not sell it?
No, there's no emotional attachment at all.
That's how you have to be in this space. That's how you have to be. I don't know what it is. I've just become so attached to my Lucky Rabbit. I don't know why. I think it's because it's a secret rare. So anytime I look at my collection, I guess it's sorted by rarity. And it's the first collectible that always pops up when I look at my collection. So it's just like I always see it there with its little knife staring at me, ready to murder me.
That's why.
Yeah.
I like Lucky. Lucky's really
cool. Yeah, Lucky's pretty cool. Mark says, do you think you will regret selling your Omi after the utility paper drop supposedly this week? Like what happens, and to take that question further, like what happens if the utility paper drops and Omi jumps to 2 cents? Would you say like, ooh, I made a mistake selling everything and buying those collectibles?
Super short term, you can't time it perfectly. Like now I spent all my money already and the market's pulled back even more. Like 10%, 20% is whatever. I still think collectibles win over the next 2 or 3 months.
That's fair.
Over the next year, Omi's going to fight back.
I don't know if Mark's getting you confused with someone else there, but he says also if Omi doesn't hit all-time high by end of year, is it true you're drinking toilet water? Did you say that? Was that a thing?
I said I dunk my head in the toilet on Facebook Live.
No way.
Yeah, if it doesn't breach its all-time high, it's going to.
Like if it's not holding at its all-time high at December, or if it doesn't hit it at all.
If it doesn't break its previous all-time high by Christmas, I'll dunk my head in the toilet water on Facebook Live. It's going to. Come on,
you're crazy. Like, man, don't get me wrong. I got conviction in my project as well, but like I also know what I've done to my toilet. I just don't have the interest in doing that.
Time too.
Oh my god, hey man.
There's no doubt. There's not a single drop of doubt.
Well, Ali Bromy is going to be drinking his urine, I think, if we don't hit 5 cents. So I think, either drink your urine, or dunk your head in the toilet where your urine is. I don't know which one I'd take on that one. That's I feel like that's one of those lose-lose situations. Hardlife8887 says 100% they have Pokemon, 100% they are only dropping when they are ready. They cannot afford to F that up. If it even gets some gamification, for example, with the card game, we all meet on Mars.
Even without the gamification, it's going to Mars.
I agree.
Yeah, they need millions of users to drop Pokemon. They could do like a million edition blind box. There's so many Pokemon, there's so many different rarities, and that'd sell out in 10 seconds.
It's absolutely incredible, man. Like it's absolutely absurd to hear how many people would come in. Like you just look at Pokemon Go and Niantic and what they did with their user base. Like I think they peaked at like 500 million downloads. And like they're still grossing billions of dollars a year with this game. It's absolutely absurd.
Yeah, I think it's like 150 million users daily. That's a lot.
That's just, and could you imagine if we just became the true NFT version of that? I think Marvel alone has enough comic books and characters to just dominate VeVe for the next 5 years. And that doesn't even include some of these other major licenses that are going to be coming in. It's incredible. Do you think, sorry, continue?
Yeah, like Simpsons, Futurama, all of those, South Park, those would be cool for kids to play around with.
I agree.
And SpaceX.
Yeah, and SpaceX. When SpaceX. Do you think that we have the DC license for comic books? Obviously, we have it. There's a difference between DC Comics and DC Direct, I guess, and there's been some confusion with that, with them releasing something for an event that's coming up. Do you think that we will see DC Comics on the VeVe app?
Honestly, I have absolutely no idea, but personally, I would say yes. It's just a bit pushed back. Maybe some contracts expired and they got something else drawn up. But VeVe get what they want. They're going to get it.
I agree. Noah says, Omi needs to hurry up. I'm 40 minutes into my commute home. I'd like to stop going to work now. Well, it sounds like you're on your way home from work, so you don't need to go back to work. So you shouldn't need to worry about that. But yes, hopefully Omi will hurry up soon. We talked about this a little bit, but we'll touch on it again. Mark says, how important are sets for Master Collector program in your opinion, Todd? Do you want to just run by that quickly again?
Yeah, they did say, they emphasized some of pay to win. So you don't need every single set. You don't have to pay 10 grand for a Hardy Pew. You can just do half and half and just be interactive on the website or for the feed.
I agree. Pirate Angel says, any concerns about the VeVe security and the possibility of losing your collectibles to a hack?
They're in complete control. They could close my account now and there's nothing I could do. But it is what it is. It's high risk, high reward.
Yeah, and I think that in some ways we're benefited by the fact that we're still centralized and that VeVe still just has custodial access, because yes, they could screw you over, but if someone hacked your account, they also have the ability to retrieve those items because it's centralized. So they have access to everyone's account versus, let's say you have a MetaMask and it somehow gets hacked and you lose all your OpenSea collectibles, you're screwed. You're not getting those back, right? So
there's so many scams on OpenSea. You guys have to be super, super careful. And don't click links in Discords or Twitters because they take you to false websites and they just steal all your stuff so easily. I see it every day from different people.
I agree. We already touched on this GSX gaming, but yeah, the burning of comics to lower the copies and stuff, that there's not really a huge need to do it, but yeah.
No, there's no point. Like the valuable comics, there's only 500 or 600 of them anyway. The commons are more for fun. Like the real money's in the secret rares and ultra rares.
I agree. And what you have to remember too is like it may not feel sometimes like there's a ton of scarcity with comics, but there's only 30,000 editions of many of these comics. And if we have 5-10 million people on the app, 30,000 is extremely scarce. And I think that that's the perspective that we sometimes overlook, is that we could be looking at some pretty significant scarcity once that happens. So,
and the collectors aren't even here yet either. So you need to wait for that to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say 80% of the, well, not 80%, but a bunch of people are here just flipping and looking to make gems and stuff. Like you said, the people that are here to collect and hold, that's when you're going to start to see these floor prices rise, because you're not going to see as many people selling for cheap. So That's what it's going to boil down to. Brandon Alexander says, I love the confidence, Steven, with the Facebook Live bet, which also makes me wonder how the heck you were able to sell all of your Omi. LOL. I would have struggled with that for sure. Yeah, man. And that was the main thing when you put out that tweet, I was like, what? Like, I don't know how you did it.
Yeah, I think there's going to be more value on collectibles, especially when they start bringing out the season 1 badges. People actually realize how scarce they are. Like 1,750 editions is not many. Like a 5 times is easier for the collectibles than it is for the token. Like a 5 times to take you to 50 cents. Or 3 cents, sorry. But that's pretty high in the Omi terms.
That's true. Split Sniper with a good question. When do you think VeVe will be a household name?
Next year Christmas.
Next year Christmas. I like that. Now, what do you think will be the biggest driving factor to making VeVe a household name? Like, is it going to be? Sorry, go ahead. TikTok.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Once you start seeing these animated ritmos and other stuff on TikTok, everybody and their little children are going to run here.
And that's what people really are sleeping on, I think. And what people need to understand is that we don't need VeVe to do advertising. We need the people that use VeVe and the licensors that are on VeVe to do the advertising for them. Like, think about how much more influential Bella Porch will be using a VeVe NFT than anything that VeVe is going to put out, realistically, right? Like all it's going to take is a couple of those major, massive influencers on those apps, whether they're paid by VeVe or not, to get on this, because TikTok's all about trends, like getting on this hype cycle, and it's just going to absolutely explode.
Yeah, once major celebrities start playing around with Ritmos and Rissos, Night Rings, chilling with my buddies, and everyone sees it, more eyes, more users.
Yeah, for sure.
It'll happen. It's just when.
GSX Gaming asking, what do you think the floor for Marvel #1 common can reach? I think it's at about $60 right now.
I wouldn't even focus on it. It's not that important. It's meh.
I think there's 48,000 editions or something.
Yeah, I think the common is just overhyped. I wouldn't even throw money at it, to be honest. It's not my focus right now. You want to be getting collectibles like season 1, ideally. Just, yeah, it's already overpriced and don't even bother.
That's fair. I agree with that. Taxi Corp Electric Taxis says Apple Glass recent news equals second quarter of 2022. Do you think that we'll see any affiliations or brand partnerships with Facebook Metaverse, Apple Glass, Google, the Oculus, or anything like that?
Yeah, I think Sony maybe, because we already have it. Yeah.
So do you think would it be a PlayStation thing, or would it be a wearable, or what would it be?
A PlayStation thing.
Okay. And what would you, because you mentioned gamification would be a long time away. Do you think Sony would be building a game for the collectibles, or what would that entail?
Yeah, if there's any gamification, it'd be outsourced. Like, you need 1,000 people to make a proper game. It's not easy.
Do you think that there's anything to Pixion Games and the individual that founded Pixion Games being on the board for Ecomi, and Pixion Games working on some game that one of the advisors for Ecomi referenced word for word in relation to a question that someone had back in April about gamification? Do you think there's any connection there at all, or is that just one big coincidence?
I don't know anything on that subject, sorry.
Okay. No, that's fair enough. So yeah, so for those of you guys that don't know, Cam, I can't remember his last name, is on the board for Ecomi, and he is the founder of Pixion Games, which is a company that creates like mobile first gaming. And on their website, they have a like a mission statement essentially with what you'll be able to do with the game. And David Younst, so not David Yu, but David Younst, who's a support person for Ecomi, someone had asked a question to him about gamification, and he had responded with, yes, at some point you will be able to run, jump, dodge, duck, whatever. And it was word for word exactly what was on the Pixion website. So yeah, it was interesting. So we're not sure because they haven't announced what they said. we have to be quiet. We're working on something sneaky, whatever. So we don't know what it is they're working on, but yeah. IT guy says, what do you guys think to the success of the 007 drop? The collectibles market price hasn't been that exciting for first appearance 007 yet. Interesting to see what happens with the 7 of 7 Bond release. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, the issue is real collectors aren't really here yet. That set's going to have huge significant importance later on. I don't see it doing too well in the short term. There's no hype. I noticed one thing: the market's here is really hype driven. If someone starts hyping it up, great fixie. Everyone else FOMO's in. So you want to follow the hype cycles.
That's fair. I agree with that. Swiss Never says, this kind of reminds me, aside from the Ron English drop, what do you think will be the next drop that combines real world utility? I think the Ron English drop he's referencing is the 100 physical statues that are being released with the collectibles. I mean, obviously we just saw the 007 drop for ticketing, which was absolutely fantastic. I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are on that. Like, what do you think is going to be the next utility that comes in?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. Maybe just like more movie tickets, maybe Domino's Pizza or something. McDonald's. Happy Toys. Happy Meals.
Okay, fair enough. Happy Meals would be pretty dope. I agree.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, fair enough. Imagine if VeVe provided NFTs in the next GTA game. Yeah, that'd be crazy. Running around as Rizzo or whatever is that'd be pretty unreal. I agree. Albert says, how undervalued are the James Bond posters? They are 2,500 editions and complete a set just before the Master Collector program starts. Gonna 2x in a week. He says yes. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, great options and great long-term hold too. I'm not too sure about going parabolic in the short term, but if you're looking for something safe, it's a good option.
So I'm just looking now on the app because I was curious as well. So the posters from Series 3, the one that was released today, my experience from Series 1 and Series 2 is that they were generally selling for about 300. And then they dropped down to about, well, they were just over 300 and then they were around 300 and then they dropped down to like 270, 280. The most recent drop that came out today, it looks like the floor is right now about 185 gems. The collectible only has 2,500 editions, like Albert says, and it only takes 2 posters to complete a set. The floor, to buy it was 107. So what is your thought on that? It only being less than $70 over floor.
Yeah, it's good for completing sets, but if you're looking for things which are going to sell immutable, like Jermaine Rogers rabbits, like they're the type of things you want to aim for. Like it's really hard to balance this, right? Because you've got things that got a high roof cap potential, and you got things that are safe for sets. It depends what your budget is and what your aim is. Do you want to risk it for more games, or do you want to just complete the sets and just chill?
That's fair. Do you know anything about? Sorry, go ahead.
But you also need more money for the other ones. That's the problem.
Yeah. And do you think that's part of the reason why we're seeing these listed for the prices that they are right now? Is because people just they bought it, now they need gems for the next thing, so they'll flip it for.
Short term is just meh, but once the collectors come in, they'll be good.
Fair enough. What price do you see them going for once the collectors are in?
It's like proper James Bond memorabilia, so like 5 years time, I'm thinking, not months. I don't know. It's hard. It's really hard to judge, but I don't see it going to like 10,000. Like the rest.
Oh God, no. Yeah, no. I don't see anything like that. I'd
be buying the Jermaine Rogers rabbits, the blood one, the red one.
That's fair. No, I agree with that as well. We'll do a couple more, and then I know it's getting kind of late over where you are on the other side of the pond there. So
I'm a vampire anyway, but
no worries. I don't know. I just put this one in because I thought it was amusing because it has nothing to do with anything. But Nova says Hyundai Ioniq 5 or Kia EV6. Do you know anything about electric vehicles? I don't personally, but
I'm on UK. It's not really big here.
okay, fair enough. So we'll pass over that one. So Ludwig is saying prices in the market have fallen by almost 50% across the board over the past few weeks. In my opinion, this is because there are so many drops coming with so much unreleased. Do you think there is a golden ratio between drops per week and maintaining the secondary market floors at a higher level?
Yeah, there definitely is. But this is like a rare occurrence with the Comic Con. It's just like a special event, so it's understandable. They're not doing this every week, so it's nothing to worry about too much. But it does make a huge impact. The more drops they have, the less the market prices are. So it is a fine balance.
I agree. The balance is key. Hard Life says, in the end, we need to realize that Master Collector Program could literally change the game completely. We're just used to the fact that everything moons, but that's nonsense. Having said that, with full sets being important, price explodes. I know you don't feel necessarily that having full sets is going to be as important necessarily, but if they release that program and you realize that having full sets is going to be a big aspect, are you going to be loading up to try and get your master collector level higher, or do you not so much care about being a master collector per se on the app?
I do. It's really important. It's like the whole point. You want to get that land reserve spot. But yeah, I've loaded up loads of ultra rares anyway, so I've hedged against that.
That's fair.
David threw me off when he said it's not going to be paid to win, and sets aren't going to be as important as people think. But the one thing that gives me security is the season 1 badges. So there's going to be an incentive to hold season 1 collectibles, I think.
How valuable do you think land will be? How much do you think land will go for in the secondary market?
I think the land in the secondary market will be more valuable than real world land.
That's crazy.
It'll be more than your house.
That's crazy. And what do you say to people? Because I know that I get that question all the time. What makes it valuable? Like people always go like, why would you spend $1 million on a virtual piece of land?
I thought about this for a while. So say you own a shop in New York City in Times Square, you're paying all that rent, and you have to go to New York to visit the shop. Whereas if you had a land in the VeVe place, you're open 24/7 to everyone in the whole world. So you got so much more access to consumer markets.
True. That's, you know what? That's a very good way to put it. I 100% agree with you. And I know that regardless of how much it costs, I'm going to look at getting, maybe not in the secondary market because I am very chintzy that way, but if I can get my hands on the primary market on a piece of land, I will definitely hold and covet that. It's going to be nuts. Do you think the Ben Spider-Man Ultra Rare is undervalued at 600 mint? So I guess that's the Ben O'Reilly Spider-Man that was released today, the Ultra Rare. It has, I think, 616 mints. I don't know how much they released, but I think last I saw it, it was, and I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah, 2.8 last time I saw it.
2.8, eh? Wow. 3. So the floor right now is 3, and there's 57 listed.
Yeah, so, 5 to 7K easily.
You think 5.7 easy? That's fair. I wish I had gotten one this drop. Although I probably would have paper handed it and sold it for 1,000, and be sitting here having this conversation about how I'm an idiot again. So who knows? Oh my, the Gale himself. What's going on, the Gale? Thank you for stopping by. Much appreciated. And it is known, a legend has entered the chat. Definitely. We're not worthy. One day, maybe. Tassie Corp says, my understanding is the VeVe app uses the Unity game engine for the app and web platform, which just happens to be interoperable with the PlayStation. Coincidence?
Nah.
No coincidence. I know Trevor put out a message, I think it was last week, saying that he was working on like over 200 collectibles right now, and then he said working with Unity is a pain, but to make like collectibles interactive and things like that, like it was a good way to do it. Like what do you think's coming in the pipeline? Are we getting Jurassic Park by the end of season 2? Are we getting Edo? Like what's coming? What do you think?
Yeah, I think Edo by the end of October. No idea about Jurassic Park when they can do that. hopefully soon. I want my T-Rex. Drivable, please.
Oh boy. And I have to answer this every live and it pains me. I think people are just doing it at this point on purpose just to get me going. So Goose asks, Foster, did you sell the Spider-Man Secret Rare? So for those of you that do not know, or those of you that do and like seeing me squirm, I was lucky enough to get the Secret Rare Spider-Man Ultimate Animated when it dropped for $400. It immediately jumped up to 3,200 and I didn't sell. And it went down to 2,700 and I didn't sell. It went down to like 2,100 and I was like, maybe I should sell and then I could rebuy. And then it went down to like 1,800. And then I went to my wife and I was like, hey, something's going on here. I don't understand it. Then it went down to 1,600 and I was like, okay, I need to jump off of this dumpster fire. And I put it up for 1,600 and it sold almost immediately. And then I almost immediately after that went, that's not good. And now it's sitting at $10,000. So to answer your question, yes, I did. Was it a good idea? No, but we all make mistakes and that was mine. And it's important to own it, right? Like I know a lot about the project, but I don't necessarily know a ton about collectibles, which is why I love having people like the Todd Father on the channel, speaking with Henry Pagliuca and people that just understand collectibles more than I do, because they're able to kind of get a better sense of the market and value for certain items. So
Do you want to hear something crazy?
yes.
I reckon Spider-Man's going to go for $1 million in a year or two. First ever Marvel drop, 1,000, and Spider-Man did.
Okay, I'm okay with that if Omi goes to $1.
Yeah, not in 2 years.
You really think it's going to go to $1 million? Tragic. Okay, does it make you feel any better if I told you that $7 worth of that collectible let us land the Amazing Spider-Man #1 Secret Rare comic? How much is that going to be worth in 2 years? It's only got 600 editions and not 1,000.
400K minimum.
Okay, so I'm only out 600,000 and not $1 million then.
The problem with comics is it's a niche market, and it's less utility. So comics have so much intrinsic value for the right collectors.
Yeah,
that's the problem. You need those people that enter the space with big money for like a real floor price to sustain.
Well, so a public service announcement for the anyone that's in the chat or anyone that's watching back afterwards. If you come across the person that owns Amazing Spider-Man Secret Rare Ultimate Animated number 501, I think was the one that I sold, I would very much like to wish them all the best of luck and would love to hear what they end up selling it for one day. Hopefully by then I've made enough money that it doesn't kill me inside. But yeah, I mean, who knows, right? Like there's so many collectibles that I've given up or that I am holding now. Like Lucky could do something absolutely crazy that none of us saw coming, and I can make a bunch of money off that. Or and that's the thing that I struggle with the most is I understand the Omi token. I don't understand the collectibles, man. I don't understand what drives their value. I understand IP and things like that, but I just like when you say $1 million, like you have conviction behind that. Like you understand that. For me, I'm just like, like what? It makes no sense to me. So
yeah, as huge significant importance significant importance being the first Marvel drop and Spider-Man and Loman and animated. It's like ticking all the boxes for high valuation. But I do agree he's an amazing haul too, because that's the type of thing that can explode on OpenSea. Limited in numbers, secret rare, and a gold rabbit. Just people love gold.
No, yeah, and that's why I'm definitely going to try and get my hands on the Simone Lagno drop this weekend coming up on Saturday, because that's going to be unreal. DW says, what do you think about the Kozik Labbits? I think they're pretty dope. I know you've touched on them a bit. Do you own quite a few of them?
I have about 20 of each.
Wow.
I only got like 5 rainbows, so I got priced out. I'm out of gems already.
How many ultra rares do you have?
6.
Wow.
Yeah, I had to trade quite a few for some comics. But
that's crazy.
The price was crashed anyway, so I thought, man.
Yeah, I was actually surprised about that. I really thought that that they would hold a little bit better than they did. I think they're at about 1.8 right now. Not to say that that's a bad price. Like I said, we do own one, but I just foresee like that's the one that I understand. Like going to OpenSea, people will want, and so we're holding that one. We don't own the black, but we own the white, and I think that that'll be worth minimum 5K when we go to OpenSea. So
Yeah, and with the Master Collector program, I think the points will be based on rarity. So secret rares will give more points, and that's going to push the price up a lot.
true. Yeah, I don't have the secret rare. I have the ultra rare. So I have the 888 edition one, not the secret rare one. But the secret rare one plummeted pretty high in value. I was pretty surprised about that. Like it went down quite a bit. I think it was probably just the edition numbers, like the fact that there was 3,333 of them. But
yeah, and you got it for free. So people.
That's true. That's true. So there's no downside and only an upside, unless I guess you sell it for free. But Split Sniper says Jurassic Park, Edo, and Monster Hunter in season 3 is my guess. For those of you that don't know, season 3 is due to commence on October 15th. So I don't know how many drops we'll see. When is October 15th, actually? That's next Friday. So yeah, I don't know if we're going to see a ton of drops like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Like maybe we'll just see the comic drops and they'll kind of keep it simple. Do you think that they're going to close out season 2 with a bang and start season 3 with a bang? Like, is there going to be a clear differentiation between the seasons? What do you think?
I have no idea. They surprise me all the time, to be honest.
That's fair. Do you think we have the NFLPA? Like, I know people have talked about it. It sounds like it's confirmed. Like, do you think we're going to see player collectibles or statues at any point in the next couple of months?
I think they have it. I just don't know when they're going to bring it out. And honestly, probably bring out Jurassic Park by now. And they delayed that so long.
Yeah. No, for sure. I agree with you. And I'm sure the delays are all for valid reasons, but it's hard when you're not, behind the curtain to understand what they are, right? So
yeah, they just take so much longer than anticipated with releasing stuff sometimes.
For sure. Sean says, what do you value more, Todd Father? Fantastic Four Secret Rare comic or Amazing Spider-Man Secret Rare comic?
Amazing Spider-Man number one.
Good. I'm glad to hear that at least, because like I said, I am holding that one. It's not the best edition number in the world. I think it's in like the 40,000s.
Yeah,
but
mine's crap too.
do you think that's really? And don't get me wrong. I to anyone that's in the chat, I know edition number matters, but like as an example, will a 20,000 edition versus a 40,000 edition really matter that much when we get up to those price levels? Do you think? Yeah. Like if it's already priced at 400K, like do you think it's really going to matter?
Yeah, I think so. Collectors love bragging rights.
Okay, fair.
That's what differentiates them. My mint's crap as well as 40K something for that one. But collectors love saying, oh yeah, I have the lowest mint there is.
Oh no, don't get me wrong. Like lower, but I mean, like if I have like a mint number 42,000, you have mint number 46,000. I don't think my mint number 42,000 is then automatically worth double yours. You know what I mean?
No, it would be in tiers though. Like 1,000 to 5,000, 5,000 to 15, 15 to 30, and 30 plus. Or it's like grading. It'd be 2 times, 3 times, 4 times 4 value.
Okay, interesting. DCDC. Not going to read the rest of your name. Says, how much do you think the Superman will be worth?
Superman's going to do really good. Like, amazing.
8,888 editions, I believe, sold for $50 on the floor. I got one during the drop, and then I picked one up for $140 afterwards. You said you're holding like 50 of them or something crazy?
Yeah, I'm down to like 45, so I swapped a few. But
okay. Yeah, so if you had to put a guess on the price, like are we talking, I think right now it's sitting at like 1K roughly. It keeps fluctuating, but
900. I reckon 5 to 10K.
5 to 10K. Interesting. I did make a promise on stream that I would be giving the Superman to my dad at some point because he's a huge Superman fan. But if it's going to go up to 10K, I may have to rethink that. I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
That'd be a big giveaway.
Oh man.
I gave one away as well a few weeks ago.
Oh god. I don't feel as bad about selling some of mine when you're giving stuff away, but you're crazy. Spidey Ultimate Animated was FA Spider-Man, FA Marvel, Secret Rare, Animated, only 1,000 editions. You can't go wrong. As a matter of fact, Albert, you can go wrong. You can go wrong by selling it for $1,600. So, but I agree with you. It is going to be a great piece. If you feel comfortable touching on this, how many Spider-Man Secret Rares do you have, and do you own any sub 100s?
I only have one. I got priced up pretty quick.
Okay.
So I was all in on that other stuff, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's around mint 200, I think, something like that.
Okay. If you said 501, I was going to lose it. I was going to lose it.
No.
Oh, man. Alan Davey says, what do you think about the current price of the DeLorean Ultra Rare? Thought it would be way higher value, and it's one of the coolest VeVe NFTs.
Last time I saw it was around 500, I think. That's a fair price. That's what it should be.
Interesting. Okay. So something you do agree on with the current is where it should be. And do you think it will stay? So let's say they add it in and it becomes drivable. Does that increase the price for you?
I heard a very old AMA yesterday on Cavill Anderson's YouTube, and they said there's 3 modes to transport. You have usability, like basically statues, and then animation. So I think the commons are going to be the ones that be drivable, and the middle one, the rare, is just a showpiece. And then the animated, I don't really know, but the commons are going to be the ones that are going to be drivable.
Okay.
Originally, the DeLorean, I was the one I was driving, not the others, as well. So that validates the theory.
Yeah, interesting. I don't know if you know anything about this. So I live in Canada, you live in the United Kingdom. But Pirate Angel asked, guys, do you know anything about paying taxes on sale profits? I'm assuming specifically for the collectibles. How is it for you? Do you know?
I think you should pay capital gains taxes 20%.
Okay. So Pirate Angel, for us in Canada, so you pay capital gains tax, which is you get taxed on 50% of the profit that you make. So like, let's say I buy something for 100 and sell it for 200. I made $100. I get taxed on 50% of that. So I get taxed on $50, which is half of the 100. And of that 50%, you get taxed at 30%. So I would essentially get taxed $16 on $100 profit, which is about 16%. So it actually works out really nice for me. I do have to say that essentially for me in Canada, because of the US exchange rate, the Canadian dollar is only worth about 0.8. It fluctuates, but it's about 0.8 of a US dollar. So when let's say I make $1 million off of Omi, I'm actually getting like $1.2 million Canadian. But then when I pay taxes on that and you take the 50% and the 30%, it actually almost equates equally to what the US value was that I was holding. So if I'm holding $1 million in my account, after I pay taxes, I'll still have $1 million. So that's pretty cool. Do you get hit with short-term capital gains tax? Do you know? Is that a thing in like is there a flush? Like I know in the US, if you hold something for like under a year, you get like hammered on it. For us in Canada, it's just like you pay capital gains regardless. Like you can hold it for a day or you can hold it for 10 years. Like it doesn't make a difference. So
yeah, but how are they going to know?
Well, I think I haven't been in crypto a full year, so I don't know. I think you get statements from the exchanges. Do you not? Like, do the exchanges are the exchanges not required to send you out like a? I don't know. In Canada, we call it like a T4, which is like an income statement. But
some of them aren't like KYC registered. I think
right.
That.
So what you're saying is not financial advice. Transfer all your money to an exchange that's not KYC. Deposit the money in an account that's not under your name in a Swiss bank account and don't pay any taxes. Guys, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. IRS, FBI, whoever's watching this, I'm kidding. GSX Gaming says, I think the team mentioned something about a dark hole being created where collectibles can be burned forever. I think commons have a chance to reach very high levels, in my opinion. We talked about this a little bit, GSX, a few times. Neither of us think it's a great idea, to be honest with you. And I don't think that the collectible mints will ever reach a point where there will be so much relative to the user base. The only time that would ever become an issue is like if 80% of users stopped using the app. And then if that happened, I think we have bigger issues. So no, I don't see them implementing anything like that. The Gale says, is this live going to be available for rewatch, Foster? I hope so. I'm using the free version of StreamYard, and it says that on StreamYard it's not recording, but it should be recording on my YouTube because it's streaming on my YouTube, so it should be available for rewatch, and I will have it posted, and I definitely would recommend watching it. Steven is always a great guest. It's the second time I've had him on, and it's always great conversations every time. So I definitely hope that we can do this. And then in a few months, Stephen, we can obviously come back and decide whether or not your decision to sell 14 million Omi and spend $220,000 on collectibles was a good idea, a bad idea, or somewhere in between.
Or learning curve.
You're a celebrity now. Hard Life said after what you said about this the Superman, he foamed into his 5th one. So
it's a good pick, good choice.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, look at this. We're getting an invitation here. Hard Life says we have 0 taxes on profit here in Switzerland. Move over, everybody. We have good cheese and no money, but don't get collectibles on drops though.
I actually saw that. We were debating whether to move to Switzerland for a while, me and my partner.
Wow. Well, you know what? It would be so much easier for you to do it because you're a part of like the European Union, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, so we're out now.
Oh, you're out. So would it be hard for you to like immigrate to Switzerland, you think? Like for me living in Canada, it would probably be pretty difficult because I don't have any relatives or anything that ever lived there. So
yeah, I think it's pretty difficult now, to be fair.
Yeah. And I feel like a bunch of rich people would want to do that. So like realistically, we're still small fish. Like what do we bring to them, right? And so yeah, I think it'd probably be pretty tough. But Pirate Angel's saying, hey, he's saying, so move to Canada, got it. Also, I don't think they are realized gains if you leave the gems in the app. It's not like selling stock, I think. I agree with you. The gems wouldn't be classified as an income stream because gems are not an actual currency. They're just like an in-game thing, right? And like, yes, you have the ability to convert them, but I would say unless you convert them, they wouldn't. But I don't know about that from a legal perspective. Do you have any thoughts on that, Steven?
Yeah, it's basically like a stable coin. Just if it's not obtaining assets for you, it's not a currency.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Novak says, I'm telling Trudeau. For those of you that don't know, Justin Trudeau is the Prime Minister of Canada, equivalent to the president, same type of level in the US. And then I think in Europe, you guys have like chancellors and you know, lords and kings and all that kind of stuff as well. So yeah, Justin Trudeau is just the guy in charge. So that's funny. Gooseneck says, how many sets will you need to be a master collector and will secret rares count? We don't know this, but if you had to guess, what would your guess be?
20, and secret rares do count. They're the most important ones. They give the most points, in my opinion.
So when you say master collector, because we know that we're going to have to earn points, we know that we're going to have to participate in the app. Will that number fluctuate? Because 20 sets, you know, a month ago isn't the same as 20 sets in 6 months from now. 20 sets in 6 months from now, if there's 500 sets that you can get on the app versus 20 sets is half of all. Like, do you think it's going to fluctuate? Like as time goes on, you're going to need more and more sets?
Maybe yearly, but if you think about it, say you're a new user, as the set limit goes up, now you need 30 sets, you're going to be pretty pissed off. You're thinking, nah, screw this.
True. That's true. Do you ever worry that the master collector program is going to become oversaturated by so many people being a part of it? I know that they mentioned the fluctuating ranking system and that only the top 3 to 4% can be master collectors. I think that is a fantastic way to address that concern. Do you have any thoughts on any of that?
I hope they make it worthwhile. Just not like a participation trophy. You have to earn it. That'll give it more meaning and more, what is it? Valor? I don't know what the word is. Like bragging rights, basically.
For sure. No, I hear that. Brandon Alexander said, that's what we need. We need a tax guy interviewed. Honestly, it'd be so difficult to interview a tax guy because like each individual, as an example, the states, like each individual state may have its own tax laws and then different countries have their own tax laws. So like what would be considered applicable to me may not be applicable to Steven, and what be applicable to Steven might not be applicable to you. So I definitely hear you on that. But like I said, like for us, it's completely different than it is in the States, and it's different than what it is in the UK. So that would be a tough one, but I definitely think it'd be interesting to get, you know, financial perspectives of people on the channel as well.
One of the big issues as well, they're not really versed in crypto. All the tax experts, they're still behind. Like
True.
I had a conversation with my accountant yesterday, and he had no idea what crypto is. He said, "Yeah, it's scary. Don't touch it." I was like, "Yeah, okay, I won't do that."
Yeah. Oh, I'd never do that. I don't know what you're talking about. And Donner brings up a good point here. Donner says, until there's no possibility to cash out, there's no capital taxes on collectibles. So load up on as many collectibles as you can right now, or sell as many collectibles as you can, hold the gems, and then worry about it later. I don't know if that'll necessarily be true, but I hear you that. Harley says, we're not in the European Union either. That's why it works how it works. UK is our best friend now since they escaped.
Ran away.
Oh my god, that's funny. Donner says, yeah, it's just a game till then. That's true. Hard life. Just come over. I'll show you around how to put NFTs in mountain vaults and ski the whole day. You know what? I would absolutely love to come to Switzerland. So if you would have me, I would definitely love to take the wife and kid on a vacation there at some point. It is definitely on my bucket list of, I think Switzerland is probably like on the world ranking for like best places to live, is like one of the only countries that ever ranks above Canada. And so, yeah, like you've been there, you saying?
No, I've seen the rankings there, and Finland.
Yeah.
I'm just so happy because everything just works so well.
Yeah. Well, we actually, my wife and I talked about doing like a Nordic trip. So like Norway, Sweden, Finland, Denmark.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And we talked about doing that at one point. We've been a few years ago. We did it. Actually, I proposed. Interesting story. Fun. You know what? Let's get personal for a moment. Fun fact, guys, for the 54 of you that are in the chat, type in Neuschwanstein Castle in Bavaria. It is the Cinderella Castle and is what Disney models their castle off of. I actually rented out that castle and proposed to my wife at Neuschwanstein Castle in Bavaria. When I say rented out the castle, it was obviously like a private tour that we got for an hour, and then I got to propose to her at the end in the Singers Hall, and that was a pretty unreal moment. I'm a pretty, not to sound pompous, but I'm pretty articulate and generally pretty good at getting my point across. I was so nervous doing this that like, and I'm sure the tour was absolutely great. I could not remember a single thing about it. Could not tell you. I was literally, and the lady, of course, knows that you're on this private tour. She knows that you're going to propose to your girlfriend at the end of it. And so she's like looking back at you and smiling, like winking when she says certain things. And it's just like, oh my God, she knows. And like, oh man, it was crazy. But no, we did like Germany, France. God, I'm going to butcher this. I'm not great at geography, but we did like a bunch. We did like a U essentially through that whole section of Europe. I wanted to go to Poland and go a little bit further east, but we never did. But yeah, I would love to go back to Europe. Europe is great because it's so accessible. Like you can get around so much and see so many different countries. And yeah, I would absolutely love to come back. So Cyber says, random question. What is one thing a visitor to your countries must do as a staple of the area you're in? Great question. What do you think?
Well, for Wales.
No, just in general, so like as a staple of your area. So like as an example, is there like in the like visit a castle or do like is there a specific type of food that they should try or something like that? So like for me, like for example, living in Canada, we have a lot of stereotypes that everyone lives in an igloo and that our police officers ride around on mooses and all this kind of stuff. So I would say that like if the one thing that you would need to do if you came to Canada that makes Canada unique is just explore the vast expanses of areas that there aren't homes. Like we're very fortunate that our country is absolutely massive and our population is like all on the bottom. So there's like beautiful mountain ranges and tons of things to see. And if any of you guys have never had a poutine or a beaver tail, if we end up doing a party in Canada, I will be buying everyone poutines and beaver tails.
I want to admire anyone who's still listening. You're probably falling asleep now.
No, we got 51 people. People are curious. They want to know. But we can come back to it if you want. Kwa says, let's go. Let me know if you're in Norway. Free accommodation for Omi homies. Let's go, Kwa. Let's go.
That's cool. It's expensive in Norway.
Yeah, man, I love how the Omi fam just comes together. Like anytime like there's something going on and it's like, oh, like people need, Go tokens, or they need this or whatever. It's crazy how many people just jump on board to help each other out. And I think that I'm so excited to start going to some of these physical events, maybe coming into next year. As the Omi token starts to go up a bit, I think I'll be able to justify, liquidating some funds to start traveling and coming around and meeting everyone in person. I would absolutely love to do that. So is that in your plans at all? Like, would you love to do like a meetup at some point if it became available, or?
Yeah, definitely. The Vegas meetup.
The Vegas meetup. You'll be at the Vegas meetup. The Gale says playa with the castle emote. Hey man, sometimes you gotta go big. Actually, one more funny thing on that. So obviously when you go to an airport, you gotta go through security or whatever. So we were leaving Canada, and of course I had the ring in my carry-on bag because you're not putting that in the like underneath or whatever the stove. So they flagged me. I don't know what it is. Like, I'm like the most inconspicuous white dude, but like I'm always like randomly searched. And I don't know why, but like I'm always randomly searched. So like we're in Montreal and we're flying out of Montreal to go to Germany, and I get flagged down by security. And the guy's like looking at my bag, and my then girlfriend, now wife, is standing like 20 feet from me. So I went up to the guy. I was like, hey man. He's like, hey. I was like, I have a ring in my bag. Can you please do me a favor and not pull it out? I'm proposing to my girlfriend and she doesn't know. And he was actually pretty chill about it. Like, some guys would be like, oh, he's trying to smuggle it. He's using it as an excuse. I'm going to pull it out and like inspect it or whatever. And he didn't. He was chill about it. But then my wife, while we're walking away, she goes, oh, what were you talking to that security guy about? That was weird. And I work in law enforcement, so I have a badge. And of course, you have to put your wallet in whatever when it's going through the scanner or whatever. So I was like, I had to think of something on the spot. Like, I was like, I need to come up with something because she's going to read right through this. And I was just like, oh, yeah, I told her, I was talking to him. Like, I told him I thought it was cool that they screen people, even if they're in law enforcement. It really goes to show that they're not showing any favoritism. I assume that he saw my badge in the scanner. And then she was kind of looking at me funny. I was like, oh, we need gum for the plane for our ears. I'm just like, changed the subject and was just praying she didn't notice. And I did ask her afterwards. I said, did you know that I was going to propose to you on this trip? And she said, well, it was a 15-day trip. I planned the entire thing. And then you told me, hey, we need to go to this castle on this date at this time for a tour. So I figured if you were going to propose to me, it was going to be at that location. But no, I didn't know. And I was like, okay. Okay, cool. Because she always said, I would love if you proposed to me abroad. So I was like, hey, we'll YOLO it and see what happens. And yeah, it was fun. So I look forward to going back to Europe.
Good time to do it.
Yeah, for sure. Tyson Corp says, I seem to recall it. There has been talk of a Disney World or Marvel World in the VeVe-verse. Any thoughts what Toy Tokyo with only secret rares will do in the VeVe-verse?
Not specifically, just a high value collectible.
Yeah, I agree. And do you think that there'll be like a Marvel World where like you leave that area and you go through like a virtual gift shop and can buy collectibles that are available and things like that?
Yeah, they want to monetize it as much as they could.
Yeah. Well, like the actual Disney World, right? You get off a ride and you end up going through the gift shop afterwards and you buy things related to that ride or whatever. Yeah,
so they already said they plan on doing that, bringing up NFT gift shops.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, it's in the pipeline.
Interesting. Nova X says, there's a new Pokemon trading card game coming out soon for mobile and PC. I would love to see Pokemon cards as NFTs. Of course, we would love to see Pokemon cards as NFTs as well. What kind of use cases do you see a Pokemon card or a Yu-Gi-Oh card or something like that having in, let's say, the VeVe-verse? Like, it's technically a 2D card. Like, do you see, like, card games being able to be played and summoning 3D monsters out of your card? Or, like, do you think that's a bit too much over the top?
Yeah, in about 5 years' time.
Okay.
We're a long way away from that, but it's definitely possible. I remember playing my Nintendo 64 and they had that. So the technology's there. Just depends how long it takes to implement it. Oh, yeah. And I remember back in the day having a Game Boy and then getting a Game Boy Color and getting like Pokemon Gold. And it was like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like, I can't wait, man. Like, I absolutely. And like, yeah, you'd want to talk about mainstream adoption. Like, that is going to bring it. Change the world.
That's it. Split Sniper says, LOL, master of deflection. Hey, man, I can't get away with lying to my wife normally, so sometimes it pays to be able to do it just once. And I got away with it in the one time that I needed to, so that's good. Anyways, guys, I just wanted to say, there's 50 people in the chat right now. We've consistently averaged, like, we've been at this for almost 2.5 hours, and we've been averaging 50 people pretty much the whole time. It means the world to me, and it means the world to me that Stephen, you were willing to come back on with me, have these conversations. I know that your insight is valued by everyone in the community, and although some may think that you're crazy or a madman, I very much look forward to what's going to roll out. So we're going to wrap up in a moment, but I'm going to leave with this because I think it's the perfect segue. Hard Life says Omi price prediction after Omi utility article. Let's not just go with that, but let's say, what is your Omi price prediction? Assuming that the articles get rolled out in the next month, we'll say, what's your price prediction end of year, and then maybe 3 or 5 year. Like, what are we looking at?
I think we do pretty well. At least like 3 or 7 cents, maybe touch 9. I think if you see what Shiba can do, Omi can smash that. Once the hype starts, just you can keep going. I mean, 5 years would be about 55 cents, $70 maybe. Honestly, no one knows, but it's going to be around forever.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I think, guys, for what it's worth, I'm going to be putting out as much research content as I can once those articles come out. I will be running the numbers based on especially the staking program, because that obviously affects the Omi token directly. I'll be looking at those numbers and looking at what, different amounts of the user base staking Omi on percentages and what that will do to the Omi token. For those of you that are familiar with my channel, you'll know that I've put out videos like that in the past, and I would like to continue to do that to give people a sense of what we could be looking at. We do know that the Omi token is going to have tons of utility in the near future. We know from the Omi utility program, we know Omi to NFT, Omi to land, Omi to anything non-IP related in the VeVe-verse. We know buybacks, and all of these things are going to come together with the exchange listings, with more hype surrounding the project and the token. There's going to be a very exciting explosion for this token. And I do imagine that with staking as a form of utility, it will be sustained and manageable, and it won't be a pump and dump or anything like that. I think that the team has really considered all of their options and are doing anything and everything that they can to make sure that we are in the best position as possible to be successful with this project. So with that being said, Hard Life says, if we touch $1, Omi party in Castle Neuschwanstein, I'll pay, or Randy. Appreciate that, brother. Before I do my sign off, any final thoughts, Stephen, that you have?
Just be patient. Our time is coming. We've waited long enough for this. We deserve it.
I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. And for anyone that's in the chat right now, thank you so much for sticking with us for 2.5 hours. It means the absolute world to me that you guys are interested in what everything Stephen and I have to say. And I hope you find the content valuable and useful. If you do, and you are watching the channel, please consider subscribing. For those of you that do follow me on socials, I've recently put out a challenge. I've called it the Race to 1,000. Essentially, I was gifted a common Captain America collectible from Kyle Martin. So shout out to Kyle Martin. Thank you so much. And I put out a challenge and basically said that I'm looking to get to 1,000 subscribers, looking to do it as soon as possible. And I am going to be doing a live stream at the end of October. So even if you're not watching this live, you're watching it before the end of October, I will be doing a live stream at the end of October, and I will be giving away that collectible as well as another collectible for every 100 subscribers I get up until 1,000. I believe I'm at about 760 subscribers right now. So I'm not really too far off when you consider that my last couple of videos have gotten anywhere between 2,000 to 4,500 views. If you're able to subscribe, share the content with your friends or your loved ones, it really would mean a lot to me. 1,000 subscribers doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it's a goal. And, you know, I've seen so many other content creators in the community hit it. I just think it'd be fun to do it as well. I will continue to release the content regardless, because I do think it's valuable to the community. And I hope that you guys agree as well. Stephen, thank you so much again for coming on. And is there anywhere that anyone that's watching right now can follow you if they would like to keep up with you?
Twitter's the best place.
And what is your Twitter handle, or how is it the best way to find you?
SteviePhil92 or the Todd Father.
Okay. So guys, please make sure to follow the SteviePhil92 or the Todd Father on Twitter. If you're looking to follow me, you can either type in my name, Foster Hilt, or you can look me up at OG_Omi_homie. And on Twitter, you will also see that post that explains the collectibles that I'm giving away. And essentially all you need to do is be subscribed. You don't need to do anything crazy. You subscribe to the channel and you'll be entered to win. You participate in the live stream and I'll be giving away some collectibles, and we'll continue to do this again moving forward. So once again, Steven and the chat, thank you so much to everyone. I really appreciate it, and we'll do it again soon. I love you all.